The tornado picks up stuff, blows it through the air. And so effectively, when you got a tornado coming at you, you've got what amounts to a wall of knives coming at you with all the debris that's in the air. This is a velocity scan that Bill has put up right there. We call that a couplet. And the different colors indicate whether the wind is blowing away or toward the radar. But the bottom line is, what you make of this is where you juxtaposition red and green, that's where there's a rotary circulation that's being picked up by the Doppler radar. And that's the so-called mesocyclone. It's the thunderstorm cloud that produces a tornado. So it's a great indication of where there's a proxy for a tornado development. And you can see the basis for the tornado warning. Bill, how long is that out, that tornado warning?
Tornado warning is out until 6:45 because this cell is only moving at 15 miles per hour to the east. So
Wow.
it's a slow-moving cell, and as you can see on this radar depiction, there is some rotation with this particular cell, but no confirmation as of yet. But as you alluded to, Tom, we're in a very explosive atmosphere right now.
Yeah, you know, we look at an energy field, energy indicator known as CAPE, convective energy field, and it's up at 7,000 joules per kilogram. I know that means nothing to anybody except those of us here. But to give you an idea, the Plainfield Tornado, that day we had an 8,000 to 9,000 CAPE. That's about as high as these things go around here, and we've had tornadoes at a lot less. So what that says is the air is buoyant, and any thunderstorm that blows up in that environment can start rotating and create its own environment and produce damaging winds and hail, and that's certainly the case with this. Here is the mapping, and by the way, Tim, you're working on the weather bug system here. Any gusts to report yet, or any?
So far, wind gusts, we've seen most of them in excess of 40 miles an hour for peak wind gusts, and some of those were in southern Wisconsin where those storms rolled through.
Gotcha.
With the thunderstorm complex
Do
there.
you have that up in a list yet, Tim?
It is up in a list, yes.
Okay, guys, if you switch over to Max 1, we'll show our viewers some of these reports that Tim's referring to. You're hearing Tim Joyce. There you go.
There we go.
These are some of the wind gusts. They don't look particularly extraordinary, but keep in mind, you know, the winds from a thunderstorm and a tornado are very localized. They occur over a small area. And so, you know, if you don't have an anemometer right where that strong wind is occurring, you can miss it. That's just not an indication this is all the wind that's occurring. You can get a lot stronger winds in certain areas. That's why radar is so invaluable, because it gives us a remote sensing tool. We can see right where the storm is and where it's headed. Bill, tell us what you're putting up there on the screen. This is Bill Snyder you're hearing.
Yeah, just showing the area. We've been talking about the tornado warning that's up until 6:45, and the areas that are surrounding that tornado warning, there is a severe thunderstorm warning in the yellow areas, exactly, and that is in effect until 7 p.m., and that includes a larger area than the tornado warning. That's for portions of Cook County, Lake McHenry, and Kane County, and again, that one is up in effect until 7 p.m.
Bill, can you pull that map down? Yeah, there we go. We're obscuring some of the area under the warnings.
Right.
So the red box you see there, that's the tornado warning.
Right.
And that would be out toward, out toward O'Hare and Arlington Heights. And
not the city proper
no.
When you talk Cook County.
Exactly.
Right.
That's right, Micah. That you can see those warnings are in northern Cook County right
Gotcha.
there.
Right.
Bill, you probably have some cities listed, right, in the text of the warning, just to give an idea of what we're talking about here?
Yes, we do. We have for the tornado warning right now, or I'm sorry, let's see here. Let me just double.
We're doing this as we go along, guys.
It's happening as we.
For the tornado warning,
It's happening as we speak.
Living near Barrington Hills, East Dundee, Hoffman Estates, or Bartlett, those are the areas there that you should take cover immediately. No tornadoes reported just yet, but those are the areas that are certainly in the path of this damaging thunderstorm, which is capable at any time now of producing a tornado, and that includes the Schaumburg Stadium out there.
There are a lot of open areas there too, so people
Yes.
should be aware and be careful for that, for
Well,
sure.
great point, Micah. You know, if you're out with, let's say, a Little League ball team that's playing right now or something like that, you ever get caught in the open, or you're in a car and this thing seems to be coming at you, you see a tornado coming, get over to the side of the road and get into a ditch, lay flat. The idea here is to cut the surface area of your body that could be struck by anything that's blowing around in the wind. And the same thing when you're in a building. Get away from windows, because windows break and shards of glass go through the air. That's true of pieces of wood and pieces of metal. It's like a wall of knives coming at you. So all the advice that we give folks in these tornado situations is trying to cut down on your exposure to anything that may be airborne and blowing through the air. And the best way to do that is stay away from windows, get into interior rooms. Bathroom's a good place to go, preferably one without windows, or the lower level of the house. You can go to a basement or something like that. You don't want to go into a corner if you can avoid it. Get under some heavy structure like a workbench or something like a stairwell. Something that if that structure comes down on you, the debris won't hit you or crush you on the way down. Tim, anything new to report on WeatherBug here?
Just really dark clouds out there in some of these areas. I'm looking on some of the WeatherBug cameras, and some of these wind gusts are getting up towards the point where you could see some damage from tree limbs into power lines and such. So localized power outages would be something to be concerned about, in addition to the tornadic element we've been talking about.
It's quite interesting that this storm is moving slowly. Southeastward. Sometimes these things run along at highway speed, 60 miles an hour. That's not the setup we've got today. We're getting under a big hot air dome that in the days to come will become so warm that we'll not be able to develop thunderstorms in it, which is one of the reasons why the temperatures the next couple of days will go off the charts. So we'll be up around 98 with heat indices of 105 to 110, and the atmosphere will be thoroughly capped at that point. But we're not there yet. We've got a warm front that's got to swing through tonight, turn the winds from the southeast, which is how they've been coming into the city off the lake, kind of protecting us from the worst of the heat in lakeshore areas. So these storms are blowing up along that northbound warm front. And look at all the lightning with that.
Very energetic cell.
Very
You said
energetic.
it's 15 miles per hour right now? It's going to 15 miles per hour?
Yeah, 15 miles an hour. But Micah, you know, a thunderstorm creates its own wind fields, and it kind of it molds the atmosphere and just as it wants to. So you get rain falling out of a thunderstorm. This pulls rain-cooled air down. That's what gushes at us as straight-line winds. They can do their own damage, and when the air is sucked up into the cloud, you get a rotation that produces the vortex that we, see as a tornado. By the way, look at this hail field right here.
This is noticeably increased. Just looking at the reflectivity off the hail scan, I noticed that just in the last 10 or 15 minutes, what didn't look very impressive is now certainly you can see it's small, but it's an area that's growing.
Wow.
The intensity on that cell is growing.
So this is intensifying as it goes, pretty much.
Yes,
This
indeed.
is getting worse and worse.
And as you get that strong updraft as well, Tim Joyce here, we're seeing some hail size reports up to 2 inches. So that's the size of a chicken egg. That's pretty big.
And guys, let's be clear.
Just off our Doppler
this
scan
tornado
here,
warning was sparked by
Doppler calibrated that cell here where the tornado warning is in effect, and this is showing that right in this area here in the dark blue that you see, hail size of at least 1.3 inches in diameter is possible.
Ray, go ahead.
I just wanted to be clear. The tornado warning was sparked by a radar indicated and not something by a trained weather spotter, right?
Yes, that is correct. Now, Ray, this is an era in which we have, storm chasers out there and eyes in the sky. Many of our police departments, our fire departments, many of our communities have their own spotter networks and put all their public safety officials on alert. So they're scanning the skies. They have radios to communicate this in, as do a lot of the storm chasers. So I'll tell you, if there's something on the ground, especially given the heavy population areas that this thing's coming through right now, we'll hear about it soon. But as yet, this is largely a radar-detected phenomenon, and that's often the first sign you get. You sometimes get 6, 7, 10, 11 minutes warning because you can see the circulation on the radar before the vortex underneath the tornado emerges. That's what some studies have indicated. So it'll be interesting to see. It looks, Bill, have they expanded that tornado warning?
No, as a matter of fact, Tom, they had actually dropped Kane County. They eliminated Kane County, but they've continued it here for portions of Cook County. That's right here on the western portion of Cook County, just east of Kane County. So this is still in effect until 6:45 p.m. The cell in question is located right over Hoffman Estates. And again, it's moving to the east at 15 miles per hour. And here we'll pull up a quick radar scan here. And I've updated the time of arrival here, and
Good.
So this cell will be impacting Mount Prospect in the next 5 minutes, Northbrook by 6:16, Northfield 6:23, and Glenview 6:27, assuming that it holds together. And even if it's not going to produce a tornado, it's certainly producing some torrential rainfall and dangerous cloud-to-ground lightning, and even the threat for some hail with this cell.
And Tim, as you pointed out, we've already had reports of what, Tim, 2-inch diameter
up
hail?
to possibly 2 inches of hail, which can do some serious damage to both people and, of course, to objects as well.
Sure can.
Yeah.
We've got a little table here. What is 2-inch diameter hail? Let's see. I'm looking. I always have to check. That's hen's egg.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, this is interesting. 1.5-inch diameter hail is the walnut ping pong size. Golf ball size hail is 1 3/4 inches in diameter. Hen's egg size hail is 2 inches. So that's bigger than a golf ball size hailstone.
Yeah.
Tennis ball size hail is 2.5 inches in diameter. So it gives you an idea of the kind of hail that's coming out of this. And you need an incredible updraft to keep these hailstones aloft. And then as you blow water up into the cloud, you accrete or add layers of ice to the hailstone, which is why they grow large. And if the updrafts are strong enough, you can hold them up there, accreting more and more ice, so they get larger and larger, until finally either the updraft diminishes, allowing the hail to fall down to the earth, or just by virtue of the mass of the hailstone, it comes down to earth. So it's quite interesting. I'm blowing up on a separate radar.
Tom, as you're doing that, I have to tell you, I've got a report from someone who's in Oak Brook right now.
Gotcha.
He says it's looking dark and looks like something's about to happen. Very ominous right now. So that's in the Oak Brook area, which is a little further west of Northbrook and some of those other areas that you mentioned.
Yeah, Micah, I'm looking on another radar system we've got here. Right in the middle of the maximum intensity reflectivity, which is where the heaviest rain, we've got Inverness, South Barrington, Sutton, Streamwood. Also included West Dundee, Carpentersville, Middlebury, Barrington Woods. I would imagine if you're in Elk Grove Village and Des Plaines looking northwest, you got to have one heck of a dark-looking, ominous, foreboding-looking sky coming in, and I'm sure we're seeing that in the city too. I'm not near a window here, but I can tell you that would be very logical based on what I'm looking at the radar. The same is true if you're looking northwest from Bensonville, Addison, Elmhurst, Lombard, Stone Park, Elmwood Park, Norridge. You may already have some rain falling in those areas, and boy, the heart of the storm is northwest of all those communities. If you're looking north from Carroll Stream, Lakewood, St. Charles, West Chicago, Wheaton, Winfield, you're looking north into the heart of that powerhouse storm that's moving southeastward.
And some of these rainfall rates are pretty intense as well. Some places like Union and Lake Zurich seeing just 3/4 of an inch of rain, and these thunderstorms just blossom within the last hour. So that's a huge rain rate considering they haven't even been going on for an hour yet.
Yeah.
So it's going to be sideways rain and some low visibility if you happen to be out there.
And it's amazing. We've got people on the road still coming home from work right now.
Right.
So
this is still the rush hour period. Exactly.
This couldn't have hit at a worse time, except maybe an hour earlier. But So now, Bill, you got that. Can we go back to Max? Maybe we'll go back to Max 1 here. And I'll show you the tornado watch box. Again, we have the tornado warning that runs till when, Bill?
Until 6:45.
31 more minutes.
That's for
31 more minutes.
For Cook County.
Gotcha.
Yes.
And then on this graphic, here you can see on Max 1, that's the tornado watch box right there in that red box. The pink off to the east is a thunderstorm watch.
Right.
But tornado watch, and boy, look at that cell cluster. Bill, stop that. That radar, all right? I guess it's on my system.
It's on your system. Right.
So
I can do that real quick here on Max 2.
let's go back to Max 2, guys.
And I'll just-
It's also running on Max 3 as well.
Gotcha. Take out the lightning, Bill, and let's just look at the structure of this thing and see if it has that comma shape. You could argue it does, kind of that hook echo type configuration there.
Yeah.
Oh boy, here we go. Another warning coming in now. A hook echo is where you get a little comma, a little hook in the radar return. That was discovered back in the 1950s down in Champaign. They were looking at the radar there and discovered that's a common characteristic of a radar signature, or a common radar signature of a tornado-bearing thunderstorm.
So this, tornado warning. This is for northwestern Cook County.
This is a this is a new tornado warning that covers northeastern DuPage County in northeast Illinois and northern Cook County in northeast Illinois. So they're continuing the trek on that cell out to the west. This one is in effect until 7:15.
So did it turn, guys, or if it's still going the same way?
No, it's very consistent, Micah. It's southeast bound. So when you look at the screen there, that's moving toward the lower right-hand side of your screen. In fact, Bill, if you can put up that warning map, we'll show you exactly where the warnings are. But Micah, no, this thing has been moving since it blew up around Rockford.
Here it is.
There it is. And so this reaches now into the city.
It does. The heart of the city is...
And that's not surprising. You know, we've got so many beeps here, I don't know where they're all coming from. You know, one thing for sure, though, Mike and Ray, if you ever wander back to the weather office and you hear things beeping, we're in trouble in some way, shape, or form.
We're beeping out here, too, Tom.
Are you? Yeah, I know. That usually is, that alerts us. Not that we need alerting in days like this, that we've got something going on and warnings are being issued. So it really is helpful. And that we have that up in the control room, too, in master control, so that if we, for some reason, aren't right in the weather office, they get a warning that they get alert that the warning will be coming and start running it across the bottom of the screen, that so-called crawl that we put on the screens right there. So there it is. Bill, tell us about that, the tornado warning.
Here's the specific of the
and
tornado.
Bill, can you move that map down just a bit so we see the full warning? The yellow area is a thunderstorm warning.
Here's the bigger picture here,
Gotcha.
Which shows the extent of that tornado warning, which does now include the heart of the city of Chicago. This is now in effect until 7:15 p.m. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over Streamwood. The storm cell is moving to the east at 30 miles per hour. In addition to the possibility of a tornado, hail up to 2 inches in diameter is possible with this cell. If you're in a location such as Schaumburg, Rolling Meadows, Bloomingdale, Glendale Heights, Roselle, Arlington Heights, Addison, Elk Grove Village, Wooddale, and Itasca, you should be taking cover immediately.
Sirens are going off in Hyde Park right now,
nothing
too.
Has been
interesting. Did you hear that, guys? Micah says the sirens are going off in Hyde Park.
Yes.
So that's always frightening, isn't it, when you hear the sirens go off? But it's quite interesting. Guys, if we can go back, this is kind of cool. The satellite imagery on this, too. Gosh, the tools we have today. Look at this. This is kind of cool because the red areas are where you get the amble top. Those are the ice crystals blowing out the tops of thunderstorms, and the satellite looks down with heat sensors and sees the colder temperatures represented by those ice crystals. So what they are, when you see red, that's the top of a very cold, very tall thunderhead. That's up higher than the cruising altitude of a jetliner that you might be on going across the country. It's up there at 40 and 50 and even more 1,000 feet. You cruise up around 35 to 40,000 feet. So these thunderstorms, you can be sure if there are any airplanes coming into O'Hare or Midway right now, they're routing around these things because they can't get on top of these.
River North sirens are going off as well. That's in the downtown area of Chicago.
As well as Westtown and Goose Island hearing those tornado sirens as well.
If you look carefully at this thing, right up by the Wisconsin line there, that's that red area that blows up toward the end of this loop. Is the cold top from this current thunderstorm cluster that's blown up so quickly during the course of the afternoon. And I see a phone call coming in from one of our Northwest suburban observers, so we'll take that and see what's being reported out that way. But tornado warning again in effect. Bill, tell us that again for Cook County.
This is for, the tornado warning is for northeastern DuPage County, northern Cook County, and northeast Illinois, which does include the city of Chicago until 7:15 p.m.
Gotcha.
The storm cell in question is located over Streamwood,
East Elgin.
and it is moving to the east at 30 miles per hour. And here's the cone of, if we go to max 2, Guys, I'll just show you real quick here where the tornado warning is right now, which area it covers.
There it is.
So you can see it does include the city of Chicago, and here's a couple of locations there that it includes: Bloomingdale, Chicago, Lyons, Schaumburg. We'll just go here to the radar, and we can just see how this exactly how fast this quickly blew up.
Guys, let's listen. We've got some video of
really
some sirens going off in Schaumburg, Bill, right now.
Gotcha.
Let's listen to it.
Sure. Boy, that's haunting, isn't it?
Very.
Yeah, you don't
hear
even see
that?
the rain isn't even falling down, but you see the dark skies as the sirens are warning people to take shelter.
And you know, Ray, Micah brought a good point up before. What do you do if you see a tornado coming at you, you're worried about it? How do you protect yourself? Stay away from windows, go to the lowest level of the structure you're in, preferably a basement, but an interior room will do well. If you're in a car and you don't think you can outrun it, you know, run to a ditch and lay flat. If you're outside playing baseball or at a Little League game or something, again, lay down flat, preferably in a little depression in the ground, but you want to cut down the surface area that could be hit by anything blowing through the air, and you want to stay away from anything that can shatter and come through the ground, the air as a projectile at you.
Yeah.
That would be shards of glass, pieces of wood, metal, you name it. You always see these pictures after tornado strikes of 2x4s shot through the trunks of trees. Do you know that a 2x4 will go through a chimney if it's moving at only 100 miles an hour?
I can only imagine. We do get reports now from Oak Park. Lots of thunder. They're hearing rumbles of thunder and sirens going off there as well.
Yeah.
So it's covering a large area.
It is. And what's amazing, Micah, I was mentioning on one of the earlier shows that the temperature up at 10,000 feet is warm to the point that will probably protect areas south and west of this corridor that's getting hit by the storms from additional storm development tonight. And then tomorrow will all be capped because of this warmth aloft. But at the moment, this area, it's a corridor that runs from roughly Rockford and Belvedere and that area southeastward through Chicago and into northern Indiana. And that includes a portion of the city, is the one we got to watch because this thing is southeast bound at about 15 miles per hour in an incredibly explosive atmosphere in which this storm will stay alive and produce prolific lightning. You don't want to be outside in that either. That's its own danger there. And as Tim Joyce, who's working with us, reports, 2-inch diameter hail and some growing rainfall tallies from the downpours these are producing, right, Tim?
And from that weather spotter on the phone, he's in the East Elgin area, but he said he saw some of the rotation of the cloud base itself from a distance of what he estimated to be about 2 miles away, and he's had reports, heard reports of some possible damage in West Dundee area.
Wow,
as well.
did he designate tornado versus
So he couldn't make the distinction because of the intense rainfall, of course.
Gotcha.
So yeah, rain-wrapped tornadoes can be very hard to see.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what happened in Plainfield. That storm rolled in from the northwest. It was rain-wrapped, which meant there's so much humidity. And when you get these low 80-degree dew points, the rain brings colder air down and essentially develops the cloud down to the surface, obscuring the tornado, the elephant trunk type funnel cloud sometimes, so you don't get a chance to see that. And we call that a rain-wrapped tornado. But that's interesting. So that's why, you know, there's been damage done, but sometimes you don't know the nature of the damage. Was it straight line wind or was it tornadic? Was it rotary, the wind that produced the damage? So that's something.
Yeah.
So sirens going off across the area. We'll go back to Max 2 again, guys.
I'll just give you a
Bill, maybe we want to do a time of arrival again.
Yeah, I do have one that's set up to go here.
Good.
And I also got the hail core tracker.
Yes, let's look at the hail.
And the velocity shear. So we'll start here from the beginning. And just to give, in case anyone's just joining us now, here is the area where the tornado warning is in effect, which covers northern Cook County through northeastern DuPage County and eastward into the city of Chicago. And this warning is in effect until 7:15 p.m.
That's the red area.
Yes, and then in addition to that, you have a thunderstorm warning
That's the yellow area.
Yellow area, and that is in effect for portions of northern Cook County and southern Lake County. That is in effect until 7 p.m. So let's go back to the radar here. We'll just kind of give everyone an idea how this developed.
Yeah.
And so
look at that.
You can see this cluster just
a highly concentrated. Look at the lightning with this.
Yeah, this ought to be producing some prolific lightning and dangerous cloud-to-ground lightning and torrential downpours. And here's just give you an idea. Here's a reflectivity there, and then we'll just give folks an idea on the time of arrival of this cell. So here it is, heading towards Des Plaines, which should be there right now. 6:32 at Niles and 6:40 at Evanston, and we'll go to the hail tracks. And I've noticed here just how the hail intensity has really exploded in the last 15 minutes.
Guys, is this one system or several systems?
And again, Tim had noted a 2-inch diameter hail with some of these cells.
Bill, just a second here. Micah, it's a cluster of storms together. So I guess the way to look at this is there may be multiple cells within this cluster, which comes down right along the nose of this extreme heat that will follow it into the area as we get into tonight. But that's a good question. And it's growing. You know, those colors you see on there, they're pretty to look at, but they actually have a meaning. Like on this particular depiction of hail, that purple area is where the hail has been most extreme. When we go to the other one, let's go to the reflectivity, Bill. Well, there's the Doppler. Right here. Now, this is the velocity scan, and where the green is next to the red, that's a sign that you likely have a circulation, a rotary circulation. And boy, when you get really bright green and really bright red next to one another, that denotes an incredible gradient there in the wind, and that's a proxy for the rotation of an entire thunderstorm from which tornadoes are known to emerge. So that's a tornado signature on the velocity information we get. I see we've got a live shot there coming in.
Yeah, that's from Ground Cam 9. Tom, also, Tim Joyce mentioned there could be some power outages. Well, photojournalist Pat Parmenter is reporting that they are out of power right now in Mount Prospect. No power in Mount Prospect.
Wow. That, yeah, that's not surprising.
Also, we're getting sirens going off in the city of Chicago in Noble Square, just west of Goose Island, and in suburban Park Ridge. Sirens are going off there as well.
Awesome. There's some lightning in the shot. Very interesting, Ray. Yeah, not surprising. Looks like this is oriented mostly toward the north half of the city for the moment. But this storm is moving southeastward, so it'll be interesting to see if the warning is issued again and extended farther south and east into more of the city. And folks in northwest Indiana are certainly in the path of this thing ultimately. Yeah, pretty vigorous. Look, when we had 95-degree high temperatures in our southern suburbs. We had dew points in the low 80s. That is top of the scale in terms of moisture. That's the kind of air mass you walk out of an air-conditioned room and bam, it hits you like a wall. And water vapor in the atmosphere holds on to latent heat energy. It's very buoyant, and it wants to boil up into thunderstorms. So that's why we look so closely at dew points. And
we do have some good news updates. Northwestern Cook County now out of the tornado warning area.
Good.
That was the area that was over the Schaumburg vicinity that we were concerned about. That did include the area near West Dundee where there might be some possible damage as well. So this tornado area of concern is now contracted, but it still includes places where a lot of people live in northern Cook County and central Cook County as well.
Yeah, that's
and even northeastern DuPage County.
And northeastern
yes,
DuPage. Yes.
Very densely populated area.
Yep.
We're not bringing this over an open rural area in this case. This is through a major metropolitan, highly dense
these storms formed
population.
today, as you've mentioned, Tom, about the intense heat to our south. I mean, we had heat indices in our southern suburbs today that were up in 113 degrees in Kankakee County. I mean, that's just off the charts. And I mean, for June the 13th, it's extraordinary. Can you remember a time where we had this level of heat and humidity so early in the season? Because I can't. And I mean, you've been doing this longer than I have, but I mean, it's just extraordinary to see that type of heat and humidity combo, and just to the north of that is typically, you know, as you mentioned with the warm front that's pushing north, that's where you get your storms to fire.
Yeah.
Tom,
And-
you were talking about the ground cam 9. It is driving now on 90 near Elmhurst Road,
Wow,
so you can
look
see
at
a
that
lot
sky.
of moisture with there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a mean sky.
midnight.
Well, you know, we were slicing through it a moment ago with the radar data, Micah, and the tops of these things go over 50,000 feet. That's about 10 to 15,000 feet higher than the commercial jetliner flies when it's in a, flying across the country. So that'd be the kind of thing where if you were in a plane and you were looking out, you'd be still, even up at 35, 40,000 feet, looking up at the cloud next to you that was producing the storm. These are big storms. That's one of the reasons people say, do the buildings disrupt the wind flow in a tornado? No, our tallest buildings downtown are what, around 1,500 feet? They're incredible structures, but the circulation of these tornadoes can reach up to 40 and 50,000 feet in the atmosphere. So coming across a city and even skyscrapers as formidable as those we have here in Chicago, not nearly enough to disrupt a tornado. That's why, this notion that the city is somehow protected from tornadoes is wrong. That's not the case. Last time a tornado went through what is now the Loop was 1876. But if you think back to April 1967, we had the Oak Lawn tornado that went right across the south end of the city at about an hour earlier than this. And it knocked a semi off an overpass on the Dan Ryan Expressway and then proceeded across Evergreen Park in the south end of the city and went a mile out into the lake off the Science and Industry Museum. So, these things can, in the right situation, hold together. By the way, I was mentioning the coloration that you see on these graphics we show you. Each of these colors here corresponds to a certain rate of rainfall. This is called a reflectivity scan. The radar pings out information or signals, and they hit raindrops, and depending on how heavy the raindrops are, that energy returns to the radar, which then processes it and puts it in a digital form, a map form. So where you see the yellow, that's pretty good sized rain. The orange is still heavier. The dark orange is still heavier, and the heaviest rain of all is over Wheeling right now and reaching back into northwestern Cook County. So that's kind of the core of the storm. And what's kind of interesting is the shape of this radar return. There's almost a little hook to it, a little comma to it right there. And that's a sign this is a rotating supercell. Yep. And Micah, you were asking, is this one storm? Is it a group? My suspicion would be there are probably a series of cells within that, but they've consolidated into one cluster.
Right.
Hey, Tom, as the storm was rolling in the northwest suburbs, we have some video that came in from Bloomingdale as the sirens were going off. Here again, just like the last video we showed, the skies were dark, the sirens are going off, but you didn't see any of the rain falling yet.
Yes.
I suspect that has now changed, but here's what it looked like as it was rolling in.
Wow. There's something about the sound of a siren, Ray, isn't there? Mm-hmm. That is, it's almost like when you lay in bed at night and you hear a train whistle off in the distance. There's kind of an eerie feel to the whole thing, kind of a melancholy sound there. And indeed, it ought to be, because that's a signal that you've got something pretty serious going on, that officials have seen fit to flip the switch on a tornado siren system to warn folks outside that something is coming through.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Bill.
Oh yeah, just a little update. I've received a report out of Streamwood in Cook County of numerous medium-sized or larger tree limbs down along Tanglewood Drive, just to the south of Schaumburg Road. So that's part of that storm complex producing at least, at the very least, some tree wind damage in the Streamwood area.
It's interesting too. You look farther west, just west of this complex, Aurora, Sycamore, DeKalb, Big Rock, other communities there. Crest Hill is indicated on the map, Newark. These areas are under the cap, it would appear. So this cluster is running down the east side of a big dome of hot air, which is preventing the storms from developing out there. And so that will probably, this cluster we're watching coming into the city now, will make its way ultimately into northwest Indiana and over into Michigan. Once these things get going, when they continue to ingest fuel in the form of latent heat energy, moisture, heat, the storms keep going. They feed on themselves. Tim, you've got something?
Yeah, just to kind of recenter where we are now. We're at the bottom of the hour. We've got 43 minutes left over with this tornado watch, which encompasses portions of DuPage and parts of Cook County as well. It's tracking to the south-southeast, more of the easterly direction, about 30 miles an hour. Other locations in the path of this tornadic thunderstorm, Des Plaines, Lombard, Villa Park, Elmhurst, O'Hare Airport itself, Park Ridge, Franklin Park, Bensonville, North Lake, Schiller Park, Rosemont, Westchester, parts of the city of Chicago, Oak Park, Forest Park, the many neighborhoods, of course, in the city, all the way down towards the west and even portions of the south side. So this goes into effect, is in effect for 43 more minutes. So we're tracking this one and seeing some big hail out of this, as well as some of the strong winds. We've seen some wind gusts in excess already of 40 miles an hour, and perhaps even some hailstones as large as 2 inches, which is the size of a chicken egg. So that's really big, can do some big damage as well.
Yeah, you don't want to be hit by that. That's for sure.
No, not.
And again, if you feel threatened, you look out and you're not sure you're safe. Get away from windows, get to the lower level of a structure.
Right.
If you're in a high-rise, and we have lots of those around Chicago, the building isn't going to come down, but the windows may break if you got an extreme situation. So you go into an interior hallway or an interior room away from anything that can break and shower you with glass or projectiles.
It's usually a better bet to take the stairs instead of the elevator in situations like this
That's
as well,
a good
in case
point.
the power goes out as well.
That's a good idea. Yeah, just like when a fire comes
Yeah.
up, you know, you're told not to get into it because if you lose electricity, you're stuck in the
elevator.
Elevator shaft. Yeah. Micah, did you want to say something? Did I hear you?
Yeah,
say?
actually I do.
Okay.
We've got video from the Chicago area, the downtown area. We think of sirens going off there. Yep, there it is. Looks like Wacker Drive. And you can hear that sirens. It's kind of not a lot of people out there, thank goodness. No. They must have heeded to your warnings and stayed inside. But that looks like Wacker Drive to me.
Wow. Boy, that looks pretty quiet, doesn't it, Micah, for 6:30 in the evening or 6:36? Yeah.
You must have gotten your warnings, Tom.
I'm telling you. Well, you know, and these days, one of the marvelous developments has been our cell phones and our cell phone providers are putting these warnings out on cell phones. And there have been actual demonstrated cases where people, well, I'm thinking about out near the Peoria area, Washington, Illinois, where people were sitting in pews in church and the warning came across their cell phone. Otherwise, they might not have known the storm was coming, and that saved lives. So now we're getting it off cell phones for those of us who tote those things around, as well as right here on WGN and, you know, our colleagues on radio and so forth. And no weather radio, lots of sources of great information these days.
On the right-hand side of your screen, by the way, guys, if you're wondering, that is near Schaumburg. That is where that heavy rain is falling, and you can see people are actually pulling over underneath this overpass to avoid the downpours. You know, the visibility gets so limited, you know, it's hard to see the car that's in front of you. So that is where that is right now, near Schaumburg.
You know, it's Ray, we were on a tornado chase back in 2010. And our crew got tangled up in one of these downpours. I mean, you literally can't see what's in front of you. I remember as a kid out in New Jersey, went through Hurricane Donna. It rained so hard, I thought I would never see rain heavier than that. Well, I saw it when we were on that tornado chase down in Oklahoma back in 2010. So folks are very wise to you know, get off the road because you find yourself following the taillights in front of you to figure out, and you hope like heck the driver in front of you knows where they are, because if they go off the road, you're going to follow them by following their taillights, you know, and so it really is prudent to be very careful on the roads.
Yeah, and Bill's tracking this,
the hail.
The hail's for sure,
Really
and also
expanding.
the storm track itself, to go back one of those frames. You had some new
quick here.
timings on both Niles as well as Evanston in the path of this storm, which is moving to the east-southeast, about 30 miles an hour. So it's
moving fast.
It's picked up speed, which is good news because, I mean, out over the lake, hopefully faster.
Yeah.
But this tornado warning does last for another 38 minutes.
Assuming it lasts.
Assuming it lasts that
Count down
long.
the 38 minutes. Guys, just to give a quick update on if anybody's planning to leave out of O'Hare or coming in from O'Hare or Midway right now. Midway has no cancellations. However, they do have some average delays at 16 minutes. And then O'Hare has canceled 69 flights.
Wow.
And the average delays there are 25 minutes. And here's another little tidbit. One of our producers, Tyra Martin, says that she heard an expert say one time, if you're lounging about and you hear these sirens, the first thing you should do is put on shoes, because if the glass starts to break, you want to cover up your shoes and maybe, you know, other parts of your body that might be open to something like this.
Great idea, because you're going to have all kinds of stuff on the ground, and there's nothing like shattered glass to walk through in bare feet.
And also, don't forget to turn up the volume on the TV so you can hear us. Letting you know when all is clear is given if you are sheltering in the basement or in a closet or a bathroom.
Yeah, and if you have an automatic volume, you can turn it down when Bill comes on. That way, that's just no, I'm just kidding. They probably want to turn me down, you know. Just look at. Oh, there it is. That's our reflectivity scan, there, guys. Look at that. That couplet has just hung on.
It has
for dear life.
Yeah.
That thing is as potent looking now as it was.
It is.
You find yourself. I remember the day of the Plainfield tornado. I was sitting in this office, and we were watching this thing move down through King County in toward Will County, where it ultimately did what it did in Crest Hill and Plainfield. And all I could think is, I wonder what's going on under there. And, I wonder what we're going to find out has happened when this is all done. I hope nothing terrible, but this sure looks like a potent couplet there, which would be the proxy for a pretty good and damaging thunderstorm, if not a tornadic one.
Right.
I don't know if you guys can hear it, but there's a lot of thunder up above us right now.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. Also, Rick Pearson, Tribune reporter, saying that there are sirens in the South Loop and just stopped, but heavy thunder boomers in the air. But there's no rain yet in the South Loop, but he says there's a lot of thunder.
That's good. And you know, Rick would know, because Rick smokes meat on his grill outside. and he is one mean... he always comes in here with pulled pork or something that he smoked out in the balcony. So if anybody would have a front row seat to what that sky must look like in the
it's Rick.
Downtown, it's Rick. Yeah,
for
Rick
sure.
would know. That's for sure. Well, I'll tell you, I hope everybody stays safe, and I hope we don't find this has done terrible damage. But boy, I know our reporters will be fanning out as they are now across the area to keep us posted.
And from our own Mike Jansen, he reports from Morton Grove that there's a few pea-sized hailstones, but that the lightning is intense, which I would imagine, based on what we're seeing on the radar indicated.
Yeah.
Also getting that same report out in Mount Prospect as well. Marble-sized hail currently falling in Mount Prospect.
Gotcha.
And it certainly is indicative off of our radar scans here.
Guys,
hail.
Have you, Ray and Micah, have you heard the desk, our hardworking desk is always monitoring all the radios and all the rest. Are they hearing anything really terrible at this point?
All we know right now is if you're looking to your right on the screen, that's Schaumburg. So it seems to be clearing just a little bit. So we're hearing that, and then we reported the delays that we have at Midway and O'Hare. And we do have crews on the scene everywhere, so hopefully we'll be able to bring you some reports. Of course, we can't go live with the lightning and things right now, but we will be giving you reports as soon as they become available.
You know, a lot of people don't realize that. We get calls here in the office from our crews out there, and they put up those big microwave dishes, which are like, inviting lightning to strike them if you're not careful.
Right.
So they are very careful not to put those things up in an active thunderstorm if that can all, be avoided.
That's why you don't see our live trucks going live during something like this.
Yeah.
Also, I do have to say that the power is back on in Prospect Heights.
Good.
We're getting a report, so that's good. That's good news.
You know, it's interesting. Before all this this particular cluster developed, I was looking at the modeling and at that warmth aloft that might indicate sealing the atmosphere off so this, nothing like this can develop in the wake of this one. Mm-hmm. And if the modeling is correct, the air aloft will be warming overnight. We're not expecting to get below 75 degrees tonight, and that would shut down additional storm development for us and would shift the axis of the future storms to areas east and southeast of us. And I don't wish that on folks down there, but it would indicate there is going to be an end to this in the next couple of hours, and already is in parts of the area.
We've got folks at Wrigley Field right now waiting for the Cubs game to start. They're not seating them because of this bad weather. So of course, they're trying to stay safe.
And when you think about just the number of people that are affected by this tornado warning, the National Weather Service puts that at 3.5 million people,
Wow.
730 schools, 58 hospitals, just to give you an idea of how many people, how many institutions are potentially impacted by what you're discussing now.
You know, and it's interesting, Ray, our
Good thing school's out right now.
Yeah, that's true. You know, the hardworking folks at the Weather Service in the so-called off season, that's when we don't have tornadoes roaming the area, they do that. They do an incredible analysis of where the hospitals are, where the schools are, where large population centers are, so that they understand, as they look at the radar, just what kind of terrain these storms are passing over and how many people are at risk. So, Ray, that's very interesting. I hadn't heard that stat before on this particular storm, but it makes a lot of sense. No question about it. Well, and Bill, what were you saying? If we hit 98 degrees tomorrow...
98 degrees tomorrow, this will be the hottest temperature in Chicago in nearly 10 years. You have to go all the way back to July the 25th of 2012 when it hit 99 degrees. So, I mean, we have not had a level of heat at any point during the year in nearly a decade.
Right.
It's
Guys,
really
do you think something like this...
as you mentioned before in our shows, we've not hit 100 since 2012, so even a 98 would qualify as the hottest temperature here since nearly 10 years.
Mike, I have to explain to you and to the viewers at home, Bill doesn't have an earpiece.
I know. That's why I stopped to let him talk.
That's all right. I didn't want you to think he was interrupting.
No. He would never, I would never interrupt him, and he would never ignore me. So I understand that. But let me ask you this. I know this always happens when we have such a quick and drastic change in weather. You know, we've got 70s or whatever, then all of a sudden it goes to 90 or 95, and then boom, we get these tornadoes, we get this extreme heat, it bubbles up at this explosive atmosphere. You're talking about 98 tomorrow. It is not so extreme from our 85 today, yet it could cause more problems or not.
Oh, there's no question about it. You know, we thought up to July 1995 that if we complained about heat, that we were get over it. You know, it gets warm around here. That's merely a nuisance. The fact is, National Weather Service statistics show more people die of heat than any other form of extreme weather in the United States. It's the most, even more than in the winter's cold, which may surprise a lot of folks. More people die of heat than tornadoes, floods, hurricanes, and it's insidious because the statistics on the fatalities that occur in these extreme heat situations don't say this person passed away because of heat. They'll say they had cardiovascular complications or respiratory complications. And really, these were brought on by stresses on bodies brought about by the heat. So heat, far from being just an inconvenience, particularly for our hardworking fellow Chicagoans and Chicago area residents and Midwesterners who are out working in it, can be threatening, to your health and injurious. So it's wise to have plenty of fluids, and maybe in the hotter part of the day, kind of cool it. Take it easy.
Yeah.
You raise a good point there, Micah. No question. Tim, you look like you're about ready to say something.
I was, yes, I am actually. A report from a weather watcher, George, in the Bartlett area. There's a report of some storm damage in that area in the form of some power lines down, mainly on Bartlett Road. So again, we're seeing the strong gusty winds, whether it's tornadic related or straight line winds, still don't know. But damage is definitely out there. Let folks know that we are under a tornado warning for still about another half hour. The storm is over portions of Cook County, heading to the south-southeast at 30 miles an hour. So we are tracking that, as well as some strong damaging winds, as well as some hail. So if you're hearing those sirens, it is best to go take cover immediately in your community, lowest level of your house. Interior room is always best for these kind of situations.
Absolutely.
Also, I've gotten a couple of reports of
Phil Snyder speaking now, folks.
60-mile-per-hour wind gusts as this cell moved through the Mount Prospect area.
Wow.
There's reports of tree damage in Roselle. That's in northern DuPage County. Tree limbs downed on roadways. So these storms, even if they're not producing a tornado, you should absolutely treat it as if a tornado is touching down, because it doesn't have to do damage. It doesn't have to be a tornado to do damage. I mean, these storms are still capable of producing large hail. Ooh, and this literally just came in, a wind gust of 73 knots at O'Hare Field.
Wow.
So that's
73
over
knots.
80 miles per hour at O'Hare Airport just now.
So 73 times 1.15, that's 84 miles per hour.
84 mile per hour wind gust.
Yeah.
That is
Wow.
That's,
No wonder they've had 69
again, you don't need a
cancellations.
tornado to produce damage with those kind of winds.
Wow.
That's greater than that's equivalent to a hurricane. Category 1 hurricane. Yes.
Yeah, or an EF1 or EF0 tornado.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I mean that gets dangerous. You figure anything over 50 miles an hour does damage, and you can actually do damage before that, no question about it. So yeah, nothing to fool with. Nothing to fool with.
So there.
So
I'm sure that they've
so we'll
done
just,
all
here's
these cancellations
the,
at
just to reset
O'Hare.
In case anybody
yeah,
might just be
well,
joining.
the good thing is, Mike, I'm sure they have people just kind of standing by. I'm
Right.
sure they'll open up the airways once this thing blows on by. But wow.
Well, let's hope it blows by quickly.
Fast. Exactly.
Speaking as it was blowing in, guys, let's take a look at video that we have as the storm was approaching. This is in Elgin, and look at the storm top here.
Wow. Look at that
clouds
sky.
as someone's driving by, guys.
Boy, that's your classic shelf cloud there. Look how low hanging that is. You know, that roll cloud on the front end, what we call the shelf cloud, is the product of rain-cooled air coming out of the storm and hitting all this humidity. And that's mean. It's interesting, as those things approach you, the winds really hit oftentimes just after that passes. Because it's forming right on the leading edge of the cool air that's gushing out of the front of a thunderstorm right there. And occasionally you'll get these little circular or rotary circulations on the front side of it. They call those gustnados, the storm chasers do. And they aren't formed in the form of a classic tornado. Your really big tornadoes tend to form, interestingly, near the rear southwest quadrant of most of these storms. But on the front side of it, you get these straight line winds that gush out, and occasionally they can create these eddies in the wind flow that very much look like tornadoes and act like them too, with rotary circulations.
We have a Crystal Lake viewer who's called in. Her rain gauge is reporting 1.5 inches
Wow.
of water, so that's quite a lot in a short amount of time.
Wow, that's something. You know, I was looking at the rain totals. Tim's looking at WeatherBug right now. Tim Joyce.
0.77 displays top on the list in the
just put a
WeatherBug network
graphic
itself,
up,
and this cell popped up literally an hour and 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So that is pretty intense rainfall in a short period of time.
I was looking at the rain reports from earlier this afternoon up through southern Wisconsin, like La Crosse, the areas there.
There's some rainfall.
From the first incarnation of the thunderstorms that were to become this batch, we're producing 2.6 inches, 2.7 inches of rain in places in southeast Minnesota and southwest Wisconsin. So there's nothing like a thunderstorm to produce heavy rain. A hurricane is just a collection of thunderstorms organized and put together. We know how much rain that produces, but when you get these clusters in the Midwest of thunderstorms, they can be prolific rain producers, no question about it.
You're seeing pictures of WeatherBug network images here, but I want to show you at Wrigley. Wrigleyville, we have some video of the situation there in the last few minutes when the sirens were going off here. Of course, nobody there on the field. The game set to start at 7:05, obviously delayed now with the approach of this severe weather. But this is from Wrigley Field.
Do you know, Ray, for many years we did our Fermilab tornado seminars, and one of the speakers who would come in would be Joe Schaefer, Dr. Joe Schaefer, who was director of the Storm Prediction Center. And I said, Joe, when you survey the threat produced by severe thunderstorms, what keeps you up at night when you think about it? And he said it's one of these big sports venues with people crowded in it and lightning flashing around or even a tornado. And, so it's good that our ballparks take this very seriously, be it Guaranteed Rate Field or Wrigley Field or Soldier Field. A couple of years ago when the tornado tested. Remember that, Micah?
Yeah, Soldier Field, they got everybody out of there immediately.
Yeah, and that was a very wise thing to do. It isn't fun for the fans, I know, but it's very prudent, no question about it.
About 30 minutes ago, guys, Metra put out an alert. Northwest inbound and outbound Union Pacific Northwest trains stopped because of the weather conditions. That came down just a little before 6:30 this evening.
Wow. Hey, guys, Yeah, Ray and Micah and guys back here, our weather team, Tim Joyce and Bill Snyder. Guys, if you can switch over in the control room to
Max 1.
Max 1. Let me show you. This is the current satellite image right here. This is the cloud top. Let me show you how that. Watch how fast this blows up. Now you see that red area, that's the top of the thunderstorm, and look how this, it's like an atomic bomb explosion.
Yep.
Where the mushroom cloud goes up. Those are the cold anvil tops of the thunderstorm. Now it's not raining in that whole area, but right where you see the, right in the core of that would be where the tornado is occurring and also the rain is falling and these large hailstones that Tim Joyce was talking about a moment ago. Look at that, and yet, you go all around the southwest and periphery of this. These folks have missed out on this. They're not going to get in on this, thank goodness. The atmosphere is capped over there and content to sit there and just fry everybody and not to, blow us all away with thunderstorm winds or tornadoes.
Speaking of blowing us away with winds, an updated wind gust from O'Hare Airport, 84 miles an hour.
Wow.
Peak wind gusts.
And
Wow.
I'm getting reports. I've gotten from some storm spotters out in Elmhurst, out west suburban Elmhurst. Hoffman Estates, Mount Prospect, power is out.
Wow.
There's numerous power outages, which is not surprising when you get wind gusts of this intensity, and that is the last thing we need on the heels of what might be our hottest day in 10 years to see a band of damaging thunderstorms here that's producing, in some areas, hurricane strength wind gusts. So this is not good news.
You're talking about the wind. I know Oak Park has got a lot of wind picking up there. The street lights are on. It's so dark that the street lights automatically came on. Guys, we mentioned that we have a lot of crews who are in different areas of the city. Let's go now to Dana Rebick, who is in North Center. She is inside the vehicle, so she's not outside.
Good.
She's joining us now live. Dana, pretty wet there, huh?
Hi, guys. Yes, we have just been seeing massive downpour of rain. We're not seeing those strong winds that you mentioned. I don't know if you can see in the distance, there are a few trees and there's really no movement. So we haven't seen any of those heavy winds coming through here, but a lot of lightning and a lot of intense thunder. It sounded like one of the cracks of lightning was literally right over our truck a few minutes ago. So it was about, we've been driving around for a while, just sort of close to the station in the North Center area, Lincoln Square. We heard those tornado sirens going off at about 6:15 where we were. That's when we jumped in our truck and we kind of took shelter for a bit, and then we've just been driving around. So again, not the damaging winds yet. I don't know if that's coming this way, but yeah, what we're seeing now is just some pretty intense rain, lightning, and thunder at this point. There's a bus pulled in front of us now, so you might not be able to see much.
Where exactly are you, Dana? You're in North Center, but where exactly would you say?
So we are at the intersection of Lincoln and Catalpa.
Okay.
So I believe this might be more Lincoln Square.
Gotcha.
In this area. Yeah.
By the way, Micah, Ray, and everybody, Bill Crane, our ace engineer here, just walked down and peeked out the window. He said it's really coming down here up on the northwest side. So right here at the station, and we're up by Lane Tech, up about 2 miles up the road from Wrigley Field.
Yeah, we're not far from Wrigley in the Roscoe Village area, so that's pretty bad. And I've been talking to someone who is at Wrigley, and they are still not letting them go to their seats. They're keeping them inside, in enclosed area right now. But it's quite a bit of rain in that area right now.
Look at that lightning, Micah. That really is a very prudent move to keep people from these cloud-to-ground strokes.
Not far from O'Hare Field, wind gust of 70 miles per hour at Park Ridge.
Still.
Right now.
Yeah, to that point, guys, the Park Ridge Police Department.
I fear we're going to have thousands and thousands without power.
You're right. And listen to this. At Cumberland, at Higgins, that intersection is blocked. They don't just have tree limbs down, they have a large tree that is down there on Cumberland at Higgins there in Park Ridge.
Not surprising. Bill, did you hear that? You can't hear what Ray just reported at Park Ridge in conjunction with the wind report.
Yeah.
They've got not just tree limbs down across Cumberland out there, they've got a whole tree down blocking
Not
traffic.
surprising.
Yeah.
Not surprising. I mean, these are mean storms.
They are. Yeah, look at that rain coming down. By the way, it's interesting. Dana's comment about there not being much wind. Yeah, wind, what we defined as wind is horizontal air movement. Oftentimes you get vertical air movements into these storms. If the air is rising quickly into the storm, then you're under that. You're not going to feel the wind blowing horizontally, and so it may seem calm. And you know, when you read stories about tornado strikes, oftentimes people will talk about the period of calm just before the tornado emerges from a calm environment. And what's going on there is, you know, you've got a tremendous updraft. And so we sense air movement horizontally as wind, but if it's moving vertically, we don't realize that there's a lot of air motion. It's just pulling up into the cloud instead of sideways underneath it, if that makes any sense. Guys, oh boy, they've extended this warning, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. Yeah, if we can just real quick, just to let everybody know what's going on here. We've the tornado warning has been expanded, and it now includes southeastern Cook County and northeast Illinois until 7:45 p.m.
Guys, can you pull that map up a little bit so we'll see the
I'll
entire
show that real quick
extent?
here. So,
there we go.
There you can see
That's
it.
good.
So it was the northern half of Cook County a little while ago, and now that tornado warning is extended far south, and it encompasses most of central and southern portions of Cook County. This storm will be near Lyons around 7 p.m. Justice, if you live in Justice, Summit, Bridgeview, Hickory Hills, Hodgkins, Burbank, Palos Hills, even Northerly Island downtown, take cover immediately. Brighton Park, Chicago Ridge, North, Oak Lawn, Bridgeport, Ashburn, and New City. So this cell is certainly showing no sign of weakening.
Hey, Bill, can you take off that gray area is a air quality alert, no doubt, for the heat tomorrow. Can we cut that so that, because this is going to proceed into northwest Indiana, and we want our viewers there to be able to see any extension of these warnings into their portion of the area. We're able to select what warnings are on the graphic system put in there, and that gray area is a air quality alert, I'm sure, in relation to the heat, humidity, and stagnant air that accompanies extreme heat like tomorrow. There we go. So in other words, this has not moved into northwest Indiana yet, but folks in Lake County,
you better
Porter and LaPorte County, stand by, because
it's coming that way.
Yeah, we've been previewing what may in fact be headed your way, down toward Munster and Chesterton and Valparaiso and Gary and Hobart and areas like that. Look at the storms, too, going into Berrien County across the lake.
Yeah,
that looks like a pretty impressive-looking cluster, and it looks like LaPorte County and Porter counties, also over towards South Bend, over in St. Joseph County there. There is every reason to believe there will be storms coming in there. You know, it's amazing. Look at the color coding on this thing, guys. We're still getting that dark red. That has not altered in one little bit. And that means the rain is still falling prolifically out of this storm and has been uniformly heavy. Yeah. As you pointed out, Tim.
Yeah, it's a rain rate of 2.75 inches an hour, which is incredibly flooding rain to come out of that cloud at such a rate. So standing water on the roadways is just the least of our concerns, considering all the other things we've been hearing about as far as possible damage.
What do you have up there, Tim? I see.
This is from St. Sands. This is off the WeatherBug camera there.
I'll pull
it's
up
of the Kennedy, yeah.
Guys, if we can go over to, is that on, or are you going to pull it up, Bill? All right, we'll get it on Max 1. Here we go.
It's on Max 2.
There we go.
Yeah, it's just, you could sort of see some of the downtown buildings about 5 minutes ago, but now it is just a wall of rain.
Yeah. That's Ray and Micah. That's like the shot we have behind you guys.
Yeah.
With the camera, where you can see the whole skyline. Only there's no skyline showing up.
Yeah, it's pretty dark. Just to remind folks, guys, this tornado warning is supposed to end in about 14 minutes, right?
New one issued, Micah.
New one issued. So the new reissue of that tornado warning expires in 43 minutes from now.
43 minutes from now.
And that now takes in the south side of Chicago.
It does. And look at this.
And parts of southeastern Cook County as well.
Look at that
the velocity shear.
Wow.
It's really stunning here. If I'll show this.
There's that couplet. If this thing were weakening,
showing.
then the degree of contrast between red and green on this area would have faded some. It's not. It's uniformly strong.
Yeah, there's no sign that this cell is weakening.
Yeah, so this thing, if it's been producing a tornado, it's still doing it, or at least has the potential to do that, and you can see why they've extended that warning into that area. There also seems to be kind of a comma-shaped configuration. You see that more in the reflectivity scan, but it's a sign we've got some And look at that. Micah, you were asking, is this one cell or another one?
Right.
See how we have two bright clusters there?
Yes.
So in other words, you've got at least two well-developed storms there. One coming into the city. Looks like it's about ready to enter the loop, and it's probably going over Rush Presbyterian right now, the hospital, and the Eisenhower and Congress Parkway, Ida B. Wells Street downtown.
And this is because of this weird heat, correct?
Yeah. It's forming right on the nose, the easternmost periphery of that hot air dome. So, you know, you get a cap out west of us. It's just so warm over so deep an area of the atmosphere. The air, as it rises, doesn't cool to make a storm. But on the front side of that, it's like gangbusters. You kind of release the energy that's being trapped by the cap out to the west. And I've always found these storms that rotate down the front side of these hot air domes are formidable. They're prolific lightning producers. They produce hail and, as in the case of this storm, potentially tornadoes. So,
yeah.
I don't know if we mentioned this, guys, but within the last 5 minutes, as you would expect with a tornado warning, but at O'Hare, they have put a shelter in place warning there. Please take caution, shelter in place in designated shelter areas.
Wow.
Follow the instructions of public safety personnel. That was put out just about 6 minutes ago.
Interesting, Ray. You know, it's funny you mentioned that because we were coming in from Lake Mead in our shootout there for our upcoming climate change piece. And I saw, you know, they have the little placards up outside the areas which are considered safe and to which people in the terminal are to go to protect themselves against, you know, the effects of a tornado or a severe thunderstorm. So that's it. So then, in other words, they're sending people in there now.
So guys, 43 minutes to go past the 7:15, heading towards the south side of Chicago. Could we be heading into Indiana as well?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, every reason to believe that. Stand by Lake County, Porter County, LaPorte County, Indiana, then farther south, Jasper and Newton counties. Yeah, there's every reason to believe that this thing seems to have a life all its own.
Still 15 miles per hour?
No, it's going at 30 now.
30 now.
Yeah.
So it's picking up speed.
Updated time of arrival here on the next graphic here. So if you see the cell is moving to the southeast at 30 miles per hour. So if you're in Evergreen Park, Calumet, East Chicago, and Gary, even though Indiana is not part of that warning yet, there's every reason to believe that this complex is going to hold together. And I wouldn't be at all surprised if Northwest Indiana will be next to be under the tornado warning gun, which is covering central and southern portions of Cook County.
By the way, Christina, one of our directors here, is crawling underneath the camera thinking that we're on camera. Christine, you can walk because we're not on camera right here. I'll tell you, you know, this is live TV at its best, guys. I'll tell you, you know, don't be surprised if the ceiling starts caving in or something.
Let's hope not.
And you're going to see it if it happens. No, it's not going to. We have a very secure weather office here. They take good care of us here in the weather office.
Wow, is that the hail monitor?
Yes.
Wow.
Isn't it?
That
And
is
you know
just
what?
grown and grown.
Isn't it something, Ray? And look at that purple, that light purple area.
Yeah.
That's probably about the heaviest.
It's the heaviest that I can recall. I'll just do a little scan of the radar here and just to get an idea and see what it's showing. But that no doubt, Tom, is the highest reflectivity on a hail scan that I've seen so far.
Look at this.
So that's 2-inch diameter.
Is this one of our roof cams or wow, Hancock building? Sears Tower. Look at that, guys. That's looking out on from Willis Tower. Or as we like to say in most of Chicago, Sears Tower.
Yeah.
It will always be Sears Tower.
Yep, it will always be Sears Tower to us.
It will always be in our
But that
hearts.
looks pretty bad.
That does.
You can see some lightning in there as well.
You know, we did a program on Sears Tower years ago, and there's a law office up on top, and they talk about the way the building sways. Can you imagine? I bet they're rocking and rolling around up there, and it's built to do that, you know. But I don't think that's the place I'd want to be in a thunderstorm right now, even though they're perfectly safe. Oh, there's another camera. Where is this, guys?
This is the rooftop of WGN. As you can see, this is right now. All this rain coming down, the lightning, and we can hear thunder, too, within the studios.
Wow, that's what Bill Crane was telling us about here in the office. Wow. Yeah, that's something. Well, I'll tell you one thing. A couple months ago, we were talking about drought, and I would say that's pretty well over. There's a Field Museum camera.
Yeah.
Wow.
This
Imagine driving home in that, guys, in rush
There's
hour.
a shot of a maple tree split in half in Elmhurst right there. So
Oh.
it's really, that is,
Wow.
Yeah.
Bill is showing me.
just from a friend of mine has sent that in to me as a maple tree split in half, and majority of Elmhurst is without power, as is Berkeley and other surrounding communities. So it's
Wow.
this is just not good news on the heels of a real intense heat wave
Heat.
that's coming in.
You know, in 1995, when we had that deadly heat wave in which over 700 people lost their lives, the power failed. And I remember
That
we
was
were
95, right?
95,
Yeah.
July of 95.
Remember it well.
It remains to this day, Micah, the most deadly natural disaster in Chicago weather history. And I remember we left here that night, and the station had been on emergency generators for hours. We didn't even know it. It had switched over, but as you drove down Addison Street toward Wrigleyville, there were no lights. It was like a third world country, and all you could see were flashlights that people were using to see their way around. But also during that period, we shut off all the air conditioning.
Yeah, that heat can be so damaging and so dangerous in so many ways. It's ridiculous.
So true. And you know, the folks who are affected most by it are the elderly, the infirm, you know, folks who don't have extended families to look in on them and all the rest. That's why the city really aggressively started opening cooling centers when that happened. And so if you got a neighbor with this heat coming in, keep your eye on them, especially if they live by themselves, or, you know, make sure, do a little, what do they call them, health safety?
Well-being check.
yeah.
Well-being check.
And we also should say Oak Park right now does not have power.
Wow.
So it's rolling through.
Yeah.
Rolling power outages right now.
That has got to be about the meanest looking storm to come down through Cook County in a while.
Wow. Two quick questions. I want to show you, pull up some video that just came in of rain. This is in Park Ridge just about 15, 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
The rain is heavy. It doesn't look like the wind is as severe, but dark skies. How high are the winds in the city of Chicago right now? And I know we were talking about the possibility of, you know, large size hail, but are we getting any reports of that hitting?
Well, you know, Tim Joyce was reporting on 2-inch diameter hail reported earlier. Ray, as you asked, I'm gonna pull this up. Let's look at what these winds are doing across the area. It's quite interesting to me to see these areas, despite the intensity of the storm, that are not getting wind. But that's not necessarily unheard of. That's for sure. And there's a whole network these days of weather observations. We've got our weather bug network with 190 different wind sensors scattered all across the area. What's it looking like now, Bill?
So after that 84-mile-per-hour gust that hit O'Hare, they had a second gust that reached 60 miles per hour just in the last. Would have been the last 10 minutes. So not only did they have an 80-mile-per-hour wind gust, but they had a second gust as the cell moved through of 69 miles per hour. So it's, you know, I suspect we're going to see some significant damage out that way.
Definitely. We've got Tim Joyce in the studio with us right now.
Trees down and probably power lines
tell
down.
Bill we've got Tim with us right now.
Also in Schaumburg, as
Bill,
we know.
Tim's out in the studio right now. We'll come back.
Yeah,
Go
come
ahead,
back to you
Micah.
guys.
Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. Tim, what are you telling us? What's the latest right now?
Latest right now, still we're tracking these tornado warnings, still with a little bit of time left on it. As you can see the map here behind me, it is affecting an area of almost 900,000 people, so a lot of people in harm's way. If you're hearing the sirens in your neighborhood, you want to go to the lowest level interior room of your house, avoid getting in elevators, staying away from windows, also very important. We've seen some hail reports up to 2 inches of hail, which is about the size of a chicken egg, so that could be damaging as well. And we are tracking this line of storms, this particular cell that we're concerned about right over the city of Chicago, and it's going to be with us for at least another half hour, and it is now affecting portions on the south side of the city. We're seeing some intense cloud to ground lightning strikes, of course, so the safest place to be is indoors during this kind of a thunderstorm event. And of course, the gusty winds have also seen some power outages, as well as some trees and tree limbs down as well. We're seeing 84-mile-an-hour wind gusts at O'Hare International Airport, the strongest we've seen so far. Some places, even in the north suburbs, seeing some wind gusts in excess of 70 miles an hour. So very concerning for us. Still have another 22 minutes on the the tornado warning that we're tracking for portions of southeastern Cook County now. Many areas still under concern for us as that continues to track, again, tracking about, say, 25 to 30 miles an hour. And it's also probably going to be going into northwest Indiana as well as portions of southwest Michigan. So even though you're not officially in the warning zone in northwest Indiana, but do be concerned because it could be in East Chicago as you get towards, say, 7:44. Evergreen Park likely arrival time is towards 7:30 in the evening, and areas even in southwestern Michigan and Berrien County could be seeing some of these severe thunderstorms rolling through as well.
Hey, Tim, what happens as the storm cells move over the lake? Because we're watching it go from northern Illinois all the way across Lake Michigan into the state of Michigan.
Well, you lose some of the friction you get from the ground itself, so the winds can pick up and the storm can intensify, and also you've got a huge body of water that can also cause some more moisture to evaporate as well. So that can sometimes strengthen some of these storms as well. Right now, the lake water itself is cooler. It's about 56 degrees along the Chicago shoreline, so that could actually maybe inhibit some of the development because it's been going over very warm land. Going over some cooler lake water could calm some of it down a little bit as well.
It's not like a hurricane that gains steam across the heat of the ocean. We're going to go to some video right now. It's a little grainy, but this is inside of Wrigley Field right now where they have delayed the start of the game. A little grainy, but you can see all the people are standing around waiting to be seated. Can't sit down, of course, but they've delayed the game for we don't know how long. Tim, you say at least 15, 20 more minutes for the tornado warning to last.
For sure, yeah. We're talking about the time elapsed on that particular warning for portions of Cook County still has another 30 minutes to go. So,
all right, folks who are watching, we've got 30 more minutes to go, and of course we will keep you updated on any new warnings that have come through. Tom, anything new?
Yeah, Micah, if we can go to Max 1, that's a great question you pose. How does Lake Michigan affect these storms? And I want you to watch this band. You'll see some developing right there. And look how it actually grows stronger as it heads toward Benton, and this would be over north of Michigan City. This one, part of it goes out over the lake. Nothing's going on. And the fact is, you've got a southwest wind blowing up here. This storm is gushing cool air in. So if you can put these opposing wind fields together, which is what happens, we call that wind convergence, the air's got to go somewhere when it hits head on like that. And so it begins upwelling. And that actually helps strengthen these storms, even despite the cool lake temperatures. It's amazing. Look at this cluster here that comes off. You'll see it crossing the lake. See the colors there, the purple? Doesn't lose an ounce of energy. The fact that it's come over cool water doesn't do anything at all. There have been tornadoes that roll off the lake over on the Michigan side. And this notion that Lake Michigan somehow mutes the effect of tornadoes or thunderstorms in our area is not always the case. In fact, in many cases, we have larger scale features producing the storms, which is going on. The lake is not a problem. Here's another thing that's interesting. Historically, the longest path length tornadoes through the Chicago area have been along the south end of the lake, through northern Indiana, all the way from Will County right here. If you plot all the tornadoes that have been recorded, their paths are longest down here, and part of the reason may be that you get cool air to come off the lake, and often in a storm situation, you've got hot, humid air coming in from the south, so you increase the low-level convergence here, which actually helps strengthen storms as they, come off the lake. So, but it's a great question, because I think we live near that chilly lake water, and we think, wow, that's got to have a dramatic effect, and it does. But oftentimes, it can actually help strengthen a storm system. And look at this thing. Hasn't missed a beat. This thing remains strong. Again, if you're just joining us, this is a tornado watch that runs till 11 o'clock. This is a thunderstorm watch. When's the expiration time on this thing in Michigan, Bill, the thunderstorm watch?
This thunderstorm watch, I believe, is also up until 11 p.m.
11 p.m.
Just looking at that right now.
And you can see, by the way, here's Lake County, Indiana, Porter County, LaPorte County. Look how this thing, which is held together very successfully, look at its movement. Just extrapolate that into this area, and I would fully expect that we'll see warnings issued shortly for parts of Lake and or Porter and LaPorte counties and Berrien County is being hammered by a good cluster that's coming off the lake right there. In fact, this thing has actually grown stronger. If you look at the colors, we go from red to purple. Indicating the intensity of the rainfall has actually increased, even having passed over mid 50-degree waters on the way. And that's because it's got hot and humid air coming up from the south feeding it, and that fuels it despite the cool lake it's going over right there.
Couple more.
Go ahead, Bill.
Couple more storm reports that I've received just to let everyone know as this storm moved through the western portion of Cook County, right over on the DuPage-Cook County border. Maywood, there's a report of an entire roof displaced on a third-floor apartment building. So these winds, again, when you get wind gusts of 70, 80 miles per hour, this is not surprising that you're seeing that type of damage. Also, as this storm moved through the Schaumburg area, they had 1.26 inches of rain in 16 minutes. I mean, that is just a torrential amount of rainfall. There's no sewer system that's able to keep up with that amount of rainfall. So that's, in addition to the threat of a potential tornado and damaging winds, the threat of some flooding downpours in a short period of time is possible as these cells move through.
Guys,
O'Hare, Tom, a little bit.
Yes.
We've been talking about O'Hare and the 84-mile-per-hour gusts of winds that are coming through there. We are seeing on Twitter that many of the O'Hare passengers in the B terminal are now being moved from the B terminal to the underground area near the United terminal.
Yeah.
So obviously they are taking precautions pretty seriously out there. But 84-mile-per-hour gusts of wind, that's some serious stuff.
It is. And Mike, I'm just looking at the report. They still have gusts to 31 there, but the radar shows the rain is out of O'Hare, or should be very, very shortly. If you look at this, you can see the icons indicating where cells are rotating right there. And you know what? I'm going to widen this out, and we can pop on the storm reports just to show how widespread the strong wind and hail reports have been with this storm. I think I can do this here. Let me run this the last 3 hours, and we'll start the animation. And well, I've switched. Sorry about that. I've gotten off my radar right there. Well, we'll come back and get that going.
Yeah,
if we want. But at any rate, that's interesting, Micah. Yeah, 84-mile-an-hour winds.
That's like almost unheard of. I mean,
yeah, I'm trying to think. Our top wind in Chicago, wind gust, is like 89 miles an hour, wasn't it, Bill?
I think it's somewhere in that neighborhood. And
that was back when we were taking readings on the top of the courthouse in downtown Chicago. This goes way back in time. Frank Wachowski could confirm this for me, and heaven knows he's shared this with me time and again. I should remember the exact number. But it seems to me the highest wind gust was 89 miles an hour. So,
I believe that's right. And Tom, I can't recall a widespread wind gusts in this storm cell situation like we're having now. The one that comes to mind most recently is that derecho back in 2020.
Wow.
In August of 2020, remember that complex began in eastern
yes.
Iowa, and it showed no signs of weakening, and it raced right through here and produced several tornadoes embedded within that complex, and even one in Rogers Park. And so that's the last time I recall seeing any type of wind gusts of this intensity across our metropolitan area like we're seeing right now. And so I fear there's going to be thousands and thousands of people without power because of the strength of these winds.
Storms, yeah.
That Rogers Park derecho, I remember it quite well. It just came through there and knocked down trees like crazy.
Yeah, that was
crazy.
Like Legos.
100-mile-an-hour winds that
and Ray and Micah, I think it took out like 40% of the Iowa corn crop.
Yeah.
It's considered the most expensive thunderstorm line in history here in the United States, in recorded history at least. There were like 140-mile-an-hour wind gusts out by Cedar Rapids. The devastation, and these derechos just roar along at highway speed over hundreds of miles, producing a stream of damage the whole way. So these things, I've literally seen derechos form up in northern Wisconsin, make it all the way down to Washington, D.C., damaging the whole way. And that was one of them. So that's, Bill raises an interesting point. I remember that day I was up in Kenosha driving south when that thing hit. And I was on the tollway. We had just come across the Wisconsin line. It was something to see. It really was. Most of the time I'm here at a weather office when these things hit, but I was actually out of that thing, and that was terrible, just terrible.
Hey guys, we were talking about the Cubs game delayed. We have some video just in from Jacob Kramer, I think is at the game here.
Oh, wow.
Check this out.
Oh, wow.
Holy
Wow. Wow.
wow.
You would not want to be on the receiving end of that.
No,
I'll tell
so
you.
he's pointed toward Wrigley where that lightning strike just hit.
Wow.
Amazing.
And these lightning strikes, we get pictures after these things. They strike trees and they turn the sap to steam, which blows out the trunk and all the bark off it. And you instantaneously hit the object that is hit by a lightning stroke to like 50,000 degrees. It's only for fractions of a second, but that's pretty mean. That really is.
Let's check in with Tim. Tim, what have you got for us?
Yeah, well, as far as we were talking about those historic wind gusts, historic sustained wind gusts, so excluding tornadoes, of course, because you can get wind gusts with tornadoes in excess of 200 miles an hour, but was highest sustained wind gust, 87 miles an hour from the northeast during actually ferocious snowstorm back in February of 1894. Currently, we're tracking a tornado situation. Tornado warning continues for portions of Cook County for another 22 minutes. This is tracking to the south and the east of the city itself, and moving at a pretty good clip now. It was going about 15 miles an hour. It's picking up some speed, moving now at 30 miles an hour. Here's the area in a tornado warning. It's southeastern portions of Cook County, and the radar together with some of the lightning data shows that really intense cloud to ground lightning we're seeing as well on the south part of the city, as well as southern Cook County, almost all the way down as far as the heavy rain bands go towards areas around Calumet. And this is going to be tracking towards the Burnside area by 7:22. Not too long after that, in areas around Calumet City, Gary, Indiana, 7:43 is your expected time of arrival for this particular strong cell, and around Ross as you get towards 7:52. Again, tracking about 25 to 30 miles an hour, intense cloud to ground lightning, and of course this is causing some rotation with this heavy hail or strong hail. We have seen some hail reports between 1.5 inch to 2 inch size hail, so we're talking about the size of a chicken egg, so really intense hail as well. Safest place to be in this is going to be inside, and of course if you are hearing the sirens in your area, the best place to be is in an interior room of your house in the lowest possible level. Of course, bathrooms have a little more solid plumbing in the walls themselves, which can reinforce, but definitely interior room of the house, lowest possible level is where you want to be for this. And still 21 minutes left on this tornado warning for the Chicago metropolitan area, specifically centered from the south side of town all the way into portions of northwestern Indiana.
Here's some video that was we received through email of a possible funnel cloud in Schaumburg. Now, we received the email at about 7:14. We don't know exactly when this happened. It was within the hour from what we can surmise, but this is a possible. Is it a funnel cloud?
Yeah, that looks pretty interesting. It looks like you got a wall cloud there, and it'd be beneath that. That's an area, yes.
This is Schaumburg.
That's an area of tremendous updraft when you get a isolated lowering, the so-called wall cloud, which is that low-hanging batch.
Can we make that picture bigger, guys, so we can get a better look at that?
In fact, Micah, that looks like a tornado in progress.
Wow, and that's
right
Schaumburg.
there.
That's Schaumburg, and again, that was 7:14 is when that came into us.
And that's where the couplet was. So that looks like a tornado.
Wow.
Wow, that's really. By the way,
There
guys,
it is.
here's something interesting.
A little bit bigger. You can see it, Tom.
Let's see here. Oh yeah. I mean, that's classic. It looks like it. Sure does. Well, we're going to hear more about that thing, I'm afraid.
So this is the first one we've actually laid eyes on.
Yes. It's an interesting. Bill, have you seen any reports from spotters?
I'm still trying to get reports from. We have obviously many storm spotters out there, but I've not received anything just yet. But
That's
again,
stunning.
that doesn't mean it's not happening.
Yeah, I would be driving the other way.
I think you'd be very wise, Micah. Hey, guys, this is kind of cool. This technology we got today. If you come back to Max 1, let me show you. This is the current state of affairs, and what we can do is these radars scan a volume around these storms. So watch this. We can give you a feel for just how these things are structured. So let me zoom in on this. Whoops, I'm zooming out. There we go. And let's do a fly around and look at this storm cluster that's over us right now. And watch this now. And we can look at that. That's what we're under here in the Chicago area right now. That thing goes upwards of 50,000 feet. Look at that. And then here are the ones coming into northern Indiana, southwest lower Michigan, right there. But that's the right there. That's the cluster. Isn't that something?
So each one of those a separate cell that we've been talking about?
Yeah. You see, Ray, how you get these different towers there? You know, in a hurricane, you call those hot towers. And you would get little spikes in the wind in there. But these are thunderstorms. It's a non-tropical storm, but still dealing with the same latent heat energy that hurricanes drive off of. And look at that thing. And the top of that will go up to upwards of 50,000 feet. The top of that cloud is probably around 60 to 80 degrees below zero right now, which is how you get hail to come out of it on a warm day. But isn't that a neat way to look at it? There's Chicago right down there. And that is one monstrous storm complex, and it's part of a group. Here, I'll zoom out some. Whoops.
Now, this is not right now.
Yes.
It is right now.
This is right now.
Right now.
Yeah, these frames are updated every several minutes. What happens is the radar out there in Romeoville, and there are multiple Doppler radars scanning this. The Weather Service has a whole network. We have tower Dopplers that they use at Midway and O'Hare to determine wind shears and all. But this is from the Romeoville WSR 88D. It's a Doppler radar, high power, 1 million watts radiated power. The antenna is 28 feet in diameter. It sends out little pulses of energy, and the difference between Doppler radar and standard radar is we can not only see this, where the cloud is and how much rain is coming out of it, but we can see the winds in it, and that's how we determine the circulation that will start up as above the ground sometimes and wind its way down to the ground as a tornado. But let me widen this out a little bit and just give you an idea of the aerial coverage of this particular weather system. We'll go out there and I'll tilt it a little bit so that we can, there it is. So there's what we're dealing with. This is our cell right there, right over extreme southwest Lake Michigan. Then here are the cells we watch come into Michigan City, Berrien County, Michigan. Here's a cluster over on the far right side. That's over going into South Bend. And then you go out here. Look at this. If we widen out, nothing going on out here to the west. That's that hot dome right out here. And so that part of the atmosphere is capped, and this thing is running right along the eastern fringe of that hot air dome that we're going to fry in tomorrow, to the tune of 98 degrees with heat indices upwards of 105, 110, dangerous heat indices. But there it is.
Real quick, if we could go to Max 2, guys, real quick for just a second, while Tom is getting that particular radar image update. I wanted to just get everyone up to speed here. A new tornado warning. We've been talking about this storm complex in Cook County and how it is moving to the southeast into northwest Indiana. Well, here it is. New tornado warning has now been issued for northern Porter County in northwest Indiana, northern Lake County in northwest Indiana, and that is in effect until 8:15. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado is over Whiting or near East Chicago, moving to the southeast at 40 miles per hour. If not a tornado, this storm is capable of quarter-size hail and 80-mile-per-hour winds. This dangerous storm will be near Munster at 7:35, Schererville, Highland, and Griffith, Indiana around 7:40, Gary and Maryville at 7:45. Other towns that may be in the path of this cell include Hobart, Crown Point, Lake Station, New Chicago, South Haven, Lakes of the Four Seasons.
That's right over the border there that you're talking.
Yes, it is.
And here is
Gary is in on that, Portage, Edgewater, Chesterton right on the edge of the warning. Yeah. Ogden Dunes is in on that.
Valparaiso,
yeah. Maryville, Crown Point is right on the edge of it. Hammond is in there, East Chicago.
Okay, guys, another tornado warning issued, which will expire hopefully by 8:15.
Yes.
In the northern Porter County, we had it up just a second ago. So it's moving into Munster about 7:35. That's in just a few minutes. So take cover if you're in that area, if you're watching us.
Yes. And again, reviewing, stay away from windows, lowest floor in a building, preferably the basement. If you go to a basement, get under a workbench or a stairwell if you can, because debris we used to tell people go to the southwest corner of the basement. Not any longer. We also used to tell people open the window.
Yeah,
we found
you
out
did.
that the tornado will open up the window for you. Don't worry about it. If it really is that bad. So
I never could understand that.
no, when you think about it, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
No.
If you've got that kind of pressure change, then the window will blow out. And so what are you opening the window for and risking getting hit by shards of glass blowing out of the window and cutting you, which is really what you're doing. You've got to be, when you're at the point where you're thinking you're imminently to be hit by a tornado, and believe me, the reaction time, if one of those things comes in on you, is very small. You've got to really have thought out ahead of time where you're going to go, and that ought to be an interior room, an interior bathroom, a basement under a workbench. If you are in a multi-floored building, get to the most interior room you can. If you're in a high-rise, the high-rise isn't going to come down. I don't know of a high-rise ever being knocked down by a tornado, but the windows will break.
Yeah.
And people have been sucked outdoors, opening doors to investigate what's going on. You don't want to do that.
We're getting some reports from Twitter in the Lincoln Park area that there's some debris that has fallen in that area. So it's pretty much covering quite a bit of the Chicago area, north, south, east, west, and we know now heading toward Indiana.
Right. Yeah, Micah, if you were to draw a diagonal line and you drew it roughly from east of Rockford right down to northwest Indiana, just south and west of Gary, and continued along down toward Winamac, Indiana, and Akron, Indiana, areas like that, those who are familiar with that area. East and north of that line, that's where the storms are occurring. West of it, not much going on. In fact, the little showers crossing the Mississippi are dying out, probably because all the energy is being sucked up by this storm right here. The air blows out the top like air coming out a chimney. It migrates away from the storm and sinks. And when air sinks, it dries out, clouds diminish, and you clear out. But it's also desperately hot, and that's the air mass we'll get in later. But we're just, this is lined up perfectly to bring this through Chicago, our close-in suburbs, our northwest suburbs, and also northwest Indiana. So, and it came in rush hour on top of it, which isn't great. So.
All right, well, Tom, Tim Joyce is in here as we watch this storm move from the south suburbs now into northwest Indiana.
Yeah, so we've got two tornado warnings that we're tracking. The first one about 10 minutes left. This is for the southern portions of Chicago itself as well as southern Cook County. The second tornado warning, this one was just issued a few minutes ago. This one goes for another 39 minutes. This affects Lake and Porter counties in northwestern Indiana. This one also producing some strong gusts. Of course, we're seeing a lot of these cloud-to-ground lightning strikes, and you can see the wind detection and the radar, the greens and the reds, when they're very close together, it indicates the storm is rotating, and that rotation can go from all the way in the cloud all the way down to the ground, and when it makes connection with the ground is when we define it as a tornado itself. We've also seen some strong hail with these. Some of these storms have produced hail in excess of 1.75 to 2 inches of hail and some strong gusty winds. In fact, near record-setting wind gusts at O'Hare Airport there, with dozens of flights canceled, which is understandable when they have wind gusts in excess of 80 miles an hour at that particular location. Also, really intense rain rates with this as well. Some places seeing in excess of 2 inches of rain falling per hour. So we're seeing some flooding roads, some reports from Arlington Heights. In some areas, seeing some standing water on the roadways there. That's going to be a thing you're going to encounter many places around most of Chicagoland as these storms track. The good news is they are picking up some speed. Earlier when they were first blossoming about, say, an hour and a half ago, they're going about 15 miles an hour. Now that is intensified and they're doubled the speed, some of them moving as fast as 30 miles an hour, which means they will be out of the area just as quickly. So this is the tornado warning we're tracking right now. It's going to go the longest portions of southeastern Cook County into northwest Indiana, including Lake and Porter counties, including the town of Valparaiso as well. So if you are hearing the sirens in your neighborhood, the best thing to do is to be in an interior lowest room of the house and, of course, avoiding any windows, as we've been telling you. The tornado warning does affect almost 500,000 people, and it does continue until it was issued at 7:30 and goes until 8:15 this evening. That's the latest from here in the studio. Back over to you guys in the Weather Center.
Hey,
well,
guys.
before you go to the Weather Center, I just want to report something. I'm getting some information from folks who are in the South Shore area.
Yes,
6,800 blocks of Bennett, Constance, and Cregier. Tons of rain and tree limbs down.
Wow.
The worst, they say, seems to be behind them, but there is a power outage in that area, in the South Shore area. 6,800 blocks of Bennett, Constance, and Cregier. But they say they feel that the worst is behind them. The sky seems to be clearing and the rain has stopped, but the power's still out.
You know what else, Micah? Tim just had this velocity scan. Look at the colors on this. See how that bright green blob is less intense looking?
Yeah.
So, you know, whether that's just a temporary fluctuation, these things can oscillate in intensity, but it does seem not quite as strong as it was, but that doesn't mean it's still not producing a tornado there. And
or
also
some strong
here's
winds, yeah.
And here's the hail. Bill is running this. We'll do. This is a field we call the vertically integrated liquid field, VIL field. And they did studies where they were putting these Doppler radars together, and they found if you look at the vertically integrated liquid, you got an idea where the hail was occurring in the storm. It's kind of like a composite of all the moisture stacked through the storm. And so there's the path of the area that's been hit by hail.
Yeah.
And you can see it's about ready to go into Lake County. In fact, it's entering there in northwest Indiana, and Porter County is not far behind.
Literally about 6 minutes ago, Tom, as that storm moved over the lake, we've got a measurement at the Harrison Dever Crib, 3 miles to the east of Navy Pier, of a wind gust of 70 miles per hour.
Wow.
So again, even if the storm isn't producing a tornado, these storms have certainly produced widespread damaging winds across the area as they blossomed just a couple of hours ago. So, you know, it doesn't take a tornado to do extensive damage in an area.
And you know, you often hear the expression, it sounded like a freight train when tornadoes are described. The fact is, any strong wind will sound like a freight train. That's not unique to tornadoes. So if you got a thunderstorm coming in and you're hearing a roaring wind, that doesn't always mean it's just a tornado. It could be a very strong straight line wind that's doing the same thing. The reason there's a roar is because somehow that flow is being constricted by either features of the terrain or buildings, what have you. And you get this rush of air, and boy, if you squeeze it through the buildings, you get a Venturi effect, which actually accelerates the air as it goes through these narrow passages. That's why, you know, people go under bridges in cars. That's not a good thing to do.
No, it's not. It's scary.
It is. You know, it would seem like that's a good place to seek shelter. But the
we hear all the time about people who get caught under there, and that's not a good idea.
No, I mean, the wind actually can blow through the underpass faster than the ambient air around it. So, yeah, that's not a safe place to go.
We have some more video in. This is from a parking lot near O'Hare Airport, as you can see. Wow, the wind is furious out there.
Yes.
Taking that rain through. And we're also hearing that the Cubs game is expected to start at 8:30, which I guess that should be okay.
Oh,
That's within the time frame of our expiration, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
You know, and, you know, our ball clubs, they contract with private forecasters. So when you get a rain delay, they're talking to meteorologists about, you know, when should we resume this again and all the rest. So they're getting guidance from, and also our ballparks, these folks are pretty sophisticated. I remember I was down at Guaranteed Rate Field talking to the grounds people there, and the same is true out at Soldier Field. They have radar there. They're watching all this just like we are, and so they know exactly what they're doing there and are timing it based on what they're seeing on the radar and what they're hearing from their private consultants.
A bit of good news. Although it's not.
There's a neat shot of the skyline.
That's
from,
right now. That's pretty good.
Yeah, isn't that something?
The calm after the storm.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're looking at that big towering thing that I was showing you on the satellite and that we've been watching on the radar off to the south and east. And there's the lightning.
Yeah, you can still see lightning in the background.
Micah, you know, we'll have to take a bag lunch or dinner out there.
Yes, let's.
Once this is all over, and we'll sit and watch the lightning
I'll meet
flashing.
you out there.
Yeah, as the
We
as
can
the
go back
sun
to finish
sets.
grilling now.
Yeah, right.
Guys,
Oh,
I just
gosh.
wanted to update the viewers real quick that the little bit of good news is the tornado warning has been taken down for the southern portions of Cook County. Even though it's not showing on our graphic system right now, but they've expired the tornado warning for Cook County. So if you're watching us in northwest Indiana, you are the ones that need to take cover immediately. Also, I'm getting a report via social media a mile south of Lincoln Park here, right in the heart of the city of Chicago, of a wall of a parking garage blown out. I don't know specifically where that is at. It's just 1 mile south of Lincoln Park, so this would have happened just probably within the last half hour or so as the storms rolled through the heart of the city. But right now, it's just, if you're in northwest Indiana, that is the area that needs to take cover. And we'll just bring up the current radar and give our folks in Indiana that are watching us an update on where the storms stand right now.
So we've got about 30 minutes left of that, tornado warning.
Yes, that's correct, Micah, yes.
You know, I'm just scanning social media. Say what you will about social media. What we find is it's an invaluable tool for getting real live and real-time reports on what's happened. It's often the first indication we get on any damage that's been done around the area. Folks will put up pictures and send them to us, and that's greatly appreciated. But I'm just looking for any reports that may have come in off ours. Wow. So all kinds of reports of funnel clouds, sirens going off. And Micah, you were the first one to point out from the south side there that things seem to be improving. And
yeah, they are improving on the south side. I should also mention that Edison Park got hit pretty hard too, with dime-sized hail and loads of lightning is what we're hearing, and very heavy winds. That's Dave from WGN Radio. He let us know about that. Oh. So, like I said, it seems like most of the areas in Chicagoland were not exempt from this weather.
No. Here's a report: half-inch hail has ended in Arlington Heights. That was some time ago.
Yeah. So the good news is it seems to be moving out of this area. The bad news is it's moving into the Indiana area. Northwest Indiana, yeah.
But the good news beyond that is the atmosphere is now in a large-scale warming process, and the bad news on that is we're going to be running air conditioners and or fans or something and trying to stay cool the next couple of days because we've got the hottest weather of the year coming, hottest weather since last August.
Yeah, we're going to have to check in with the city and see what the plans are as far as cooling centers and things like that for the people who will be having issues. And we do know that a lot of the senior centers, senior apartment buildings were having issues a couple of weeks ago when we had weather in the 90s. So this is going to be very important with the 98 degrees tomorrow and possibility of more storms.
So true, Micah. So true. Keep your eyes on folks living by themselves.
That's right. Do the well-being checks, as you mentioned.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the good. That's the good news. Of course, we mentioned that our Northwest Indiana communities are about to bear the brunt of these storms. But you can see, Micah, here on the radar, there is no other storms right now that are imminent. The radar is clear to the north as they went through, out to the west. So that is good news that a majority of our area, like I said, minus the Northwest Indiana, is in the clear, which is great news.
And it's still moving at about 30 miles per hour? Has it increased? Okay, good.
Yeah.
By the way, the fact that it's moving takes it out of here fast, but a fast-moving thunderstorm is not always good news because, a steady-state thunderstorm will gush winds of 30, 35 miles an hour. Then you have to add the speed of movement to the peak wind gusts. So if you have a thunderstorm gushing out winds at 35 and it's moving at 30 miles an hour, you can get wind gusts to 65, 70 miles an hour.
So I take all that back.
No. Your point and Tim's point that it's getting out of here at least is they're good ones. They really are.
Yeah, and these are producing just copious amounts of rainfall. According to our Doppler scan, this dark red area here that you see.
Now this is on. You have it there, Bill?
2.74 inches per hour. Thankfully, again, that these storms are moving and they're not training over one area. But otherwise, we would have some serious flooding. But they are moving at a good clip. But as they move through, they're producing torrential amounts of rainfall. So I would imagine, some localized flooding, and in addition to the threat of damaging wind gusts and tree limbs and power outages and so forth.
We also are getting some reports of a tree that fell on a parked car with a driver inside from Chicago Fire.
Wow.
That's in the 2500 block of 65th Street.
Yeah. Any word on how the driver is doing, Micah?
No injuries. No injuries.
Wow, thank goodness.
The crews cut the tree and removed the driver from the car, so no injury there. So that's good, but it had to be some very scary moments.
Boy, I should say so. There's our fire department hard at work again.
Yeah, and we no longer hear makes sense. We're not hearing the thunder above us here in the Chicago area, but I want to show you some video that we got over Millennium Park.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that lightning
Oh,
bolt.
wow. Hey, that's a heck of a shot, isn't it?
That's right over downtown.
Wow.
Amazing.
Boy, you get those cloud-to-ground strikes like that, that's serious stuff. You know, there are two kinds of lightning. They call negatively charged lightning or positively charged. The positively charged lightning strikes are the ones that have the highest amperage and are the most damaging, most apt to set fires. They're the ones, when you watch lightning flashing, the flashes that last the longest are often positively charged lightning. And that's the stuff that you worry about, because instead of producing heating for millionths of a second, these things can produce heating over an extended period of time. And of course, if you've got a human being on the other end of that, you can understand the seriousness of the injury that can occur with any lightning strike, but particularly these high amperage, positively charged ones. Yeah.
Tim's here in studio, and we've been talking about reports of power outages, maybe not from lightning per se, but with the strong wind gusts knocking tree limbs into power lines.
Yeah, we're probably seeing to the tunes of probably several thousands of folks out without a power. So a lot of families going to be sweating in the dark as we get later into the evening hours. Also want to update folks on folks at the airport. Of course, they did have a full ground stop at O'Hare due to the severe weather that was moving through the area. They have gotten things going again at O'Hare, but the delays are stacking up. Total cancellations now numbering 86. Total flights, 0 cancellations at Midway. But delays at Midway are running about, say, half hour, and delays at O'Hare right now are running about an hour. So that is going to affect both inbound and outbound traffic. Right now, we still have 26 minutes left on the tornado warning for northwestern Indiana. We're looking at arrival time around 8:06 around Valparaiso, 8:20 in the Boone area, a little further to the south and southeast towards Keener, and then White Post around 9:56. Now, this is supposed to go on until about 8:15 this evening. Hopefully it will lose a little bit of strength as it finally starts to move off towards the south and east, but right now we are seeing the strong winds, the hail, as well as some damaging winds. No reports of wind damage yet from that particular spot around northwestern Indiana, but not out of the question. We're seeing some rain rates in excess in some of the strongest parts of the cell, in excess of 2 inches an hour, so some flooding on some roads. Definitely something we're going to be watching out for. But the scope of the size of the cell itself does look like it's shrinking, although the rain rate itself doesn't look like it's decreasing in its intensity at all out there. So 25 minutes left for both Lake and Porter counties in Indiana for this tornado warning radar detected as we look towards the next, say, 25 minutes and hopefully see more of this storm perhaps diminishing in its intensity.
We know a lot of the Chicago area is in the clear, but we want to show you the video of the Chicago fire pulling that person out of the vehicle just a short while ago. And we talked about it. These are still photos, not video. I apologize. But the tree fell down, as you can see, and that is in the 2500 block of 65th. It fell right on that parked car. The driver was inside, but you see firefighters getting that cleared and pulled the driver out without an injury. So that's good news. Also, the game is scheduled at Wrigley Field to start at 8:30. We now know that the audience, what do you call, you don't call them audience,
fans, spectators,
yeah, them. They've come out and they're out there seating,
sign.
as you can see here.
And they're pulling the tarp back.
Yes, it says the game is scheduled to start at 8:30. Please make your way to your seats in a calm and orderly fashion. So the game will go on tonight.
Might need to dry those seats off a little bit.
Hey, guys, I just got off the line with Scott Hanneman, who reports in from the northwest suburbs. He said there's a tree blocking both lanes of Roselle Road out near the border with Schaumburg. And he said there are trees down on cars out there. So that's not a good sign.
No, not a good sign at all, because we know that there's going to be damage left behind this awful storm.
Yes.
As you were showing us the pictures on the radar, the Doppler radar.
Yes.
That is not going to come through without any type of damage.
Nope. And our friends in northwest Indiana, keep your eye on the sky. I'm sure everybody is in northern Lake County, northern Porter County, and it looks like it's about ready to wend its way into LaPorte County, too. So we're talking about areas over by Burns Harbor, Gary, Valparaiso, areas like that, and over to Michigan City.
Yeah, it's going through there. So that is 8:15. So we've got just a little bit longer for that. And hopefully we won't hear about another tornado warning or anything bubbling up anytime soon.
I think you're right, Micah. Yeah. You know, for Chicago, It looks like the precip has exited the city, and Cook County for that matter.
Good.
If there's any rain falling, it's right on the Indiana-Illinois border and about ready to exit imminently. So not surprising.
But for those folks, they still need to be sheltering in place?
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
Yes.
Of course, because 8:15 is when that tornado warning will be over.
Yes.
So we've got a little while left for them.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Right there.
That's
Show
right.
everybody
Oh,
this is-
you know what? Bill's put up the box on Max 2,
Yeah.
guys. If you want to look at
Yeah.
that, you'll see the current.
For those of you who are at home in that area, take a look at that area that's going to be affected very soon. Please take heed. And the cooling center information that we talked about a little while ago is coming in for tomorrow from the city of Chicago.
Yes.
I'm going to get that to you and let you know we talked about that because it's going to be 98 degrees tomorrow. And from what they're telling us is that the cooling centers are going to be open in Inglewood Center, 1140 West 79th Street, North Area Center, 845 West Wilson Avenue, Garfield Center, 10 South Kedzie Avenue, South Chicago Center, 8650 South Commercial Avenue. Space is limited, however, due to COVID-19 guidelines on gatherings. So at 9 a.m., those centers that I just told you, they will open up. So if you don't have air conditioning at home, if you feel that you need a cooling center, I suggest you get ready to get out there by 9 a.m. tomorrow. Also, senior centers that will be open. Again, space is limited due to COVID-19 guidelines on these gatherings. These open at 8:30 a.m. Central West Center, 2102 West Ogden, Renaissance Court, 78 East Washington. No, that one's closed. I take it back. Forget that one. Let's go to Northeast Senior Center, 2019 West Lawrence, and Southeast Senior Center at 1767 East 79th Street. If you are used to going to the Renaissance Court, it will be closed tomorrow, folks. So check into those senior centers by 8:30. Again, they're going to fill up pretty fast because of the COVID-19 restrictions that are going on. Also, Chicago Parks and Libraries are also serving as cooling centers during this extreme heat. You should check in with your local park, your library, even the police station is offering help. So if you have any information, again, practice physical distancing because these cooling centers, they are practicing COVID guidelines. We still have a pandemic going on. So it's going to be hot out there tomorrow. So please take heed. Do it now. We don't want to hear about anybody in their home, you know, getting too hot. We don't want to do well-being checks and get bad news when we get inside. So please, folks, go to those cooling centers. They start tomorrow.
Absolutely. Micah, status report, rain winding down now in Whiting and South Chicago, but Gary, right in the thick of things right now. So's Ogden Dunes. Portage about to get in on it. Porter is about to get in on it, as is Beverly Shores. Folks over in Beverly Shores in Michigan City, heaviest coming right in there. And so if we can just get through the next, half hour or so, things ought to start improving. And they have already west of northwest Indiana.
And we've been talking about how severe not only was the rainfall, but the wind gusts. Take a look at this. This is from West Suburban Westchester.
Wow.
After the storms came through, you can see this is a tree that came down in someone's backyard. Fortunately, it looks like they had a lot of yard to fall into. Not so much that I see that it fell on any homes or nearby garages or structures here, but they're going to have a lot to clean up in very hot weather.
And Ray, they were saying in the western suburbs, this according to ComEd, that the western suburbs hit particularly hard with some of those wind gusts. So they're saying that about 19,000 people without power in an area including Maywood, Broadview, and Westchester, where we showed you that shot of that tree down. But overall, they've got 300 plus outages, which affects more than 56,000 customers at the moment.
Homes and businesses.
Homes and businesses. A lot of families affected this evening by the lack of power.
Yeah.
You mentioned Maywood. Bellwood is in that area. We've got Dana Rebick over there where an apartment building has some damage to it. Dana, what can you tell us?
We're here at 25th and Washington in Bellwood. I just had a chance to run over and speak to a couple of these residents, but take a look at this 3-story brick apartment building behind me. The entire roof has been ripped off of this thing. I just had a chance to talk to some residents who lived on the 2nd floor. They said this happened at about 7 o'clock, so just a little less than an hour ago now. They said they were just sitting inside. They were aware of the severe weather coming through the area. They started to hear high winds outside and hail hitting the windows. And then all of a sudden, they said they heard this loud, incredibly loud boom noise. And then after that, they said they heard a bunch of crackling. They ran down to the basement level. And now most of these residents are standing out here on the street. The fire department is here on scene. I just heard him talking to the residents to see if they have a place to stay tonight. It looks like it's hard to see on top of the building to see if the whole roof is gone, but it looks like there's some big boards, some big pieces of wood that have sort of been ripped off, and we see what looks like maybe some insulation, some yellow fiberglass looking insulation as well up there. So I did ask one of these residents on the second floor if he knew if anyone was injured who lives on the top floor of that building, and he said he heard there might have been one woman who got stuck under a large section of that roof. So that's the latest out here in Bellwood. We're hoping to go do some interviews, talk to more of these residents, and hopefully get an update as well from the fire department on any potential injuries here. But this is some pretty serious storm damage here in Bellwood.
Yeah, Dana, that was going to be my question, if there were any injuries, but of course you're just getting on the scene, we understand.
Right.
But there's a lot of damage to that roof. We're going to let you go and get some more information for us.
Okay.
In the meantime, I do want to remind folks
Sounds
about
good.
those cooling centers, and if you have any information or if you want more information, go to our website, WGNTV.com.
All right, let's go back. Tom, tell us where
Yes.
things stand right now. We're really focusing our attention on northwest Indiana.
Yeah, and the area from northern Lake County to northern Porter and LaPorte counties being hard hit right now. You know, one of the things that comes to mind, too, as I look at that roof off the apartment building, you know, wind gusts are stronger the higher you go. So it's not surprising that the most damage on a building that stands several stories high is near the top of it, because you get away, you know, the underbelly of these wind gusts coming out of these thunderstorms drag along the ground. You get frictional drag, slows it down. But as you get higher up a tree or a building, the winds are less interfered with by surrounding structures or terrain or features of the terrain, vegetation, trees, and so forth, and the winds can be strong. But Ray, essentially, if you look at the radar right now, there is top intensity rain going into Gary now, into Ogden Dunes, Portage, soon to arrive imminently in Chesterton. It's in Fumesville, Indiana, Michigan City. It's on its way to Wheeler, Edgewater, Westville. Valparaiso will be affected by this, as will Haskell, Indiana, Kingsbury. Smith and LaPorte will get on it. Michigan City's in on it. So is New Buffalo over in southwest lower Michigan. So that's kind of the epicenter of the action right now. That same line that has done the damage through our suburbs and parts of the city, now racing into those areas. On the other hand, folks out by the Fox Valley, it's all over. And it is in the city now, too. So what has happened or is going to happen with the storm has happened, and now the cleanup begins.
Yeah, 15 more minutes for that tornado warning in northwest Indiana.
Don't be surprised, Mike, if they issue another one south and east. I would expect it might go farther down into LaPorte County.
Think so?
And more into, and also farther down in Porter County. Yeah.
What are their temperatures expected to be for tomorrow?
Same as ours.
Okay.
98 to 100, and heat indices of 105 to 110.
Which means that's how it'll feel tomorrow, like 105.
You know, Bill Snyder back here celebrates that. I can't understand that frame of mind, but he's not alone. You know, we get this discussion.
Not when it does this to us.
No, I know. I agree with you.
You're looking at various shots across the city. As you can see, things have pretty much resumed to normal. It looks like, the rain has stopped.
They're even out on the Chicago River there, Micah.
Yes, exactly. So it's easing up, as you said, here in the Chicagoland area. Traffic seems to be back to normal. People are back outside again. Wrigley is getting ready to prepare for an 8:30 start for that game. So right now we're just concerned about our friends in northwest Indiana, right? Our neighbors.
Yes,
right over
and
there.
even northwest Lake County in Indiana is doing okay. So it's starting to let up big time there. So
well, that's good because ComEd crews are going to be out and about trying to do their best to get power restored.
So true, Ray. And you know something, our utilities contract with private meteorological services too. So I would suspect that ComEd has had crews on hand knowing that this sort of storm could develop. So they're ready to get out there. But boy, they had, those folks do yeoman service to try and clean up after one of these things. Oh, brother. It's a mess.
Did you guys get big reports of any low-level flooding anywhere that we needed to pass along?
Only a couple locations, are Arlington Heights among them, because of that really intense rainfall we had when this really first started. But I would expect with the rain rates we're seeing, with some areas seeing the precip falling in 2 inches per hour, that you're going to see standing water in a lot more locations than just Arlington Heights.
Are you getting new information, Tom?
You know what, guys? If you go, and I just took it down. Let's see here. If you go to Max 1, we've got some rain reports, the heaviest rain reports we have off our network.
Actually, click on that. It'll be on Max. It'll be on Max 2.
All right. Now, why am I not getting this to go up? There it is. Okay. There it is. So Nathaniel Green Elementary School here in town, 103, 1 inch and 300ths. Des Plaines, 8200ths. Bensonville, 82. Wilmette, 0.8 of an inch.
Yeah.
Did we do some gusts after that?
I had it loaded. Let's see here. We'll put up the gusts. Yeah, here we go.
There we go. There we go.
There's our.
Look at those gusts, guys.
There's the O'Hare. The 84
doggy.
miles per
I'm
hour.
telling you.
O'Hare.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there it is.
That's 84 miles.
I don't know if that's a record, but that should be a record.
Yeah, it's
pretty close.
Certainly
Tim says.
substantial, and there
Yep.
and any you know, Micah, it only takes a severe thunderstorm to do damage. It only takes a wind gust of 58 miles per hour to do damage. So you can imagine what 70 to 80 mile per hour wind gusts have done in parts of our area.
And out there at O'Hare too. That's why they stopped those flights.
Yeah. And you know, it's amazing. I always wonder about the planes in which people are sitting, that they are holding at the terminal or something like that with 84-mile-an-hour winds rustling around.
Well, we do know that they took a lot of folks from the Terminal B and put them underground, so we know
Good
that
move.
for a fact. Yeah.
Yep, that's a good move. Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you one thing. This thing, you could have laid a ruler down along the path of this thing. It's been so persistent and so consistent in its intensity. It's followed a perfect northwest to southeast track, and which makes it easy to anticipate what's, who's ahead of it, who's in its crosshairs, and when the action is going to begin. So that's good for planning purposes, and also trying to get people out of harm's way.
A little bit of good news, Tom. Once we can get these storms to get through northwest Indiana, they have canceled the tornado watch for the western portions of our area. So that would include Boone County, Cook, DeKalb, DuPage, Kane, Kankakee, Kendall, Lake, McHenry, and Will. So the tornado watch has been canceled in those areas. It was originally slated to run until 11 p.m. and the tornado watch has now been canceled. So that is a bit of good news, and there's not expecting any additional development of storms in the areas where they moved through the last couple of hours.
It's one thing that thunderstorms mix down cooler air and they stabilize the atmosphere. And so it's hard in many cases to get new development. There are situations where that does happen. But in a way, the thunderstorm has fulfilled its function in nature. That's to produce a level of air conditioning and also to stabilize what had been a very unstable atmosphere. The only thing is the heat and humidity are rushing back in, but tomorrow we'll have a cap. So we'll have the same humidity, this energetic atmosphere, and nothing will happen with it because the air loft will be too warm by then. The warm air coming in is in a very deep dome, and that shuts down additional storm development. So we'll not be doing this tomorrow night.
It's already warmed up, so it's not going to be that catastrophic.
No, that's
Okay.
true. That's true, Micah. Yeah. Well,
So there's the.
Well, we have till 8:15. I think we're going to stay on the air until that expires.
We do
that
10
warning
more,
expires.
10 more
Tim?
minutes for.
Tim, it expires in 10 more minutes?
10 more minutes, yeah. And you notice that the cone is actually contracting in size as this storm moves into northwestern Indiana. And actually, it's actually picking up speed according to the National Weather Service, now moving at about 40 miles an hour. So, and even more speed as we get those temperatures on the rise. And the cloud tops are 50,000 feet, so that's 9 miles into the atmosphere. As we see the track of that, as Tom was mentioning, from Schaumburg all the way towards Valparaiso and heading towards Valparaiso at the moment, it's still in that warning zone. We're talking about quarter-size hail, and again, winds with this particular cell now estimated to be about 70 miles an hour, and you include that, those are to the front line winds, so you could see, combined with the actual storm motion, could see wind gusts even stronger than that. Again, the hail could be a bit of an issue, quarter-size hail, and of course, flying debris is the most dangerous thing with tornadic developments. You want to be in an interior room of your house, so if you are in that area of concern in parts of northwest Indiana, especially towards the Valparaiso area, towards Chesterton, Calumet, Indiana, Winfield, all sort of in that area of concern, definitely want to take shelter now. Turn the TV up before you go into that lowest level of the house. You can still hear us, and we can let you know when the all clear is, but still got 10 more minutes for Lake and portions of Porter County in Indiana for that tornado warning. And the good news on the Illinois side of the border is that tornado watch has been removed from many areas in our far western suburbs as well. So some good news, but still in that danger zone for areas in Lake and Porter County in Indiana.
Yeah, Tim, you said to have folks turn up the volume, which is a good thing, but also we do have our WGN weather app, so
yes,
hopefully keep your smartphones with you and you can get all the warnings
purse, keep it in your pocket, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
And guys, a point to be made, we'll get some additional warnings out of this. Next in line will be Southern Porter, Southern LaPorte, Stark County, Marshall County. So our friends in northern Indiana, even though northwest Indiana will be cleared in the next half hour, there'll be additional warnings issued on this because this is showing no sign of going away. But it will be increasingly farther to the south and east of our area. And our neighbors in Lake and Porter counties, Indiana, part of which are being hit very hard now, as with LaPorte County, will be watching things ebb a bit too as we go along here. But there will be additional warnings, so it's not totally over. It'll just move out of our immediate area. And
as you mentioned, Tom, you can see on here, I brought up our current warnings map as the area in red is the tornado warning, which is going to run for another 7 minutes. And then just to the east of that has been a new severe thunderstorm watch new severe thunderstorm warning that was issued. And that does include portions of the Michigan City area, LaPorte County, and that will run until 8:45. So
that's the thunderstorm warning?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, severe thunderstorm warning just to the east of the tornado warning.
yes, and I'm just looking at the watch here. You know what else? I would not be surprised at all to see another tornado watch issued down in those areas south and east of us.
This evening?
Yeah, I think so, Micah, but it won't be in our immediate, service
area.
area here. It'll be farther south and east.
Okay.
Yes.
But we do know that the Northwest Indiana folks have a few more minutes on this, and you believe that it will be lifted at 8:15? You don't see that?
It may go a
Going
little
along.
beyond 8:15.
Okay.
It's still raining pretty vigorously in Porter County and eastern Lake County in Indiana. So that may take a little more to go. But as you go over to lower Michigan, there's a lot of action there. So this setup is not done yet. It'll just start moving out of the area that we cover, that we consider
Right, our viewing area.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And we've been talking a lot about what we've been able to see in real time from videos on social media. We saw the heavy rain that was falling.
Yeah.
We saw the lightning. We saw the heavy winds. But as we were tracking the storm system through the hail projector,
Yes.
I didn't see anything on social media that indicated that hail was actually falling. Is that what's projected in this system
no,
as we're watching,
no.
or it's actually reported to be falling?
Oh, it's falling. Believe me, Ray. We've had a number of reports I see that come into me of hail around the area, and that blue track that Bill was setting up on the radar. I mean,
That's
we've had an
real
area
time,
that's
yes.
really been pummeled by hail. There's no question. We're going to hear a lot more about that, I suspect. Yeah.
We've got video, folks. Let's take a look at out of Lincoln Park, where a parking garage has collapsed from this awful weather. This was a little while ago. You take a look at it. It's the wall collapse in Lincoln Park. Not
There
sure
it
the
is.
exact location, but that looks pretty bad. And the rain was still coming down at the time. Of course, it's a little more clear now, but it looks like smoke is coming up from that area, probably dust and things like that. But that is a parking garage collapse in Lincoln Park. Of course, we'll have more information as we move on through the night about how it happened, where it happened. And
I think that might be at the Toyota of Lincoln Park, where that came there. And Shannon Halligan is on her way to that. But boy, that is really stunning
That is.
to see that as it happened.
By the way, guys, a new severe thunderstorm warning just issued for.
you were right.
It's
Just
up
to
till
the south.
8:45 now, and this is up for Stark, parts of Porter and LaPorte counties, and also over into St. Joseph County. So, you know, but again, we're getting farther and farther away from our viewing area. Yes, yes. But people live there too. We're worried about you folks too.
And folks, if you know folks who live there, give them a call and let them know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's take a look at, we've been talking about the hail. We actually now have some video of the, I don't know, is that pea-sized hail falling in Portage, Indiana? So they definitely, as we've been discussing, we're getting it there.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And it'll be interesting to see, Ray. In fact, you raise a good point. I'll just, as we continue to talk here, I'll pull up some of the reports we've gotten. We've been so busy talking about the wind and the tornado threat. I think sometimes hail gets a back seat, although Tim was first one on with that 2-inch report out in the suburbs. And Tim may have more information on that right in front of him. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Boy, all kinds of, I'm just looking at these storm reports. They're pretty impressive. They really are.
Well, we see and hear that as it's coming down, though, in Portage, Indiana.
Yeah. Do you know, when the history of this thing is written, big hail, by the way, across southern Wisconsin, 1.5 inches, 1.75 inches into the Milwaukee area, and it ran all the way from La Crosse. And then that cluster developed around Rockford. All of a sudden, independent of what had been going on up in Wisconsin, except what happens is thunderstorms up there produce outflows, and that often is the starting point for the next batch of thunderstorms. It initiates convection, as we say in the weather world. And so that batch that came through here and is now raking northern Indiana and southwest lower Michigan had its origins over by Rockford, and then it just moved southeastward into this area.
We're getting information from Chicago Fire that there are trees down all over DuSable Lakeshore Drive.
Wow.
And I wanted to, I should have relayed the information earlier. We had our Kelly Davis was out there on the beach. I think it was Montrose Beach. And there were a lot of people out there today because of the weather. So hopefully no one was injured over there. But lots of trees down all over DuSable Lakeshore Drive. That stretch goes a long way. So you know that could cover a lot of land.
Yeah.
From the north to the south.
Absolutely. Here, by the way, here's a report of 1-inch diameter hail southeast of Killdeer in northern Cook County. Oh, Micah, isn't that the truth? And you know, this hit right during rush hour.
There it is. There's DuSable Lakeshore Drive right there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, can you imagine the traffic there coming through Torrance
during
and hail?
during rush hour?
Yeah. Exactly.
And the cleanup that has to take place now because of it. And hopefully no one has been injured. Of course, we have lots of crews in the area, and we will bring you the latest as we move forward in our news at 9 and 10. And hopefully there will not be any more tornado warnings coming out. We won't have to come back on the air. But as you can see, we're going to our different cameras across the city, and it looks a lot better. You can see some sun shining through in some areas, and it seems like normal activity has resumed. But again, there's a lot of aftermath that we're going to have to deal with and tell you about tonight on the WGN News at 9 and 10.
Now the cleanup begins.
Now the cleanup begins. And hopefully no injuries.
No.
And we do have, like we said, Shannon Halligan on the way to that collapse, that parking lot collapse, and we'll bring that information to you as soon as we get it.
Feels like we rode out this storm together, Tom, Tim, Bill. We were watching this as it rolled in, and we've stayed with it throughout the course of the evening.
Hey guys,
that's what we do here at WGN.
We do, and if you want to see the whole life cycle of this thing, go to Max 1, guys, in the control room. You'll see the storm forming up by Rockford, moving down through Chicago, and now it's in northwest Indiana. So there it is. That's the whole life cycle of this particular storm. And notice, if you lay a ruler down along the path of that thing, nothing happened out to the west. That's where the air is so warm aloft that it's capped. So Joliet escaped it, Aurora escaped it, much of the Fox Valley, except the northern Fox Valley, escaped it. Ottawa, areas out west didn't get it. So Kankakee didn't get in on it. So that's kind of nice.
So it's now 8:15, and I'm going to assume that tornado warning has expired. Anything new, folks?
You know what, Michael? Let me just, if we go to Max 2 real quick, I'll just show you here where we're at. If in a bit of good news, we don't have any of those dark red polygons, which would indicate a tornado warning. It's been several hours since we've had that been the case. But we do have that new severe thunderstorm warning right here, and that would just be just south of Valparaiso. That's in effect until 8:30, and the Weather Service is cautioned with that cell that it is possible. It is possible that it could produce a tornado. And if you can look at the reflectivity on this, it is still a mean thunderstorm.
It is.
And if we go to the hail track here, I'll show you real quick here. It is showing no signs of weakening.
No, that thing in Porter County.
Look at the VIL on the hail tracks here as suggesting that this storm, in addition to producing wind gusts of 70 miles per hour, is possibly producing hail in the size of almost 2 inches in diameter. So it's still a very mean storm. And if you're in this area, that you want to heed warning and prepare as if it were a tornado warning, because these storms are certainly capable of producing damage, even if it's not necessarily a tornado that's spinning out of the clouds. So,
by the way, an interesting post by Scott Bowen. Scott is a meteorologist at Aon Insurance, and does some fascinating analytical work. And he was pointing out this is the beginning of derecho season. These are these long path length storms like this one, where these things cover hundreds of miles and stay viable all the way and do damage. So, while we'll not be visited again in the next couple of days by anything, until Wednesday night, that's the next chance of storms. We are in an active time of the year, no question about it. Guys, it's been a pleasure to work with you. I know, heard from Sam, our producer, that we're going to wrap and get ready for the 9 o'clock show. So back to you guys.
Well, we do appreciate all that you guys are doing to keep everybody watching safe, as always, and we know you'll let us know if things change. We need to break back in on our program.
Yeah, we will interrupt programming if necessary. Be safe, be well.
She watched what she ate. She exercised, but Adriana was still frustrated.
My midsection area and my love handles. The rest of my body's small, and then I have this big belly hanging out. So, yeah, it makes you very self-conscious. I needed that extra push, I guess, like that extra jump start to getting my stomach flat.
Then she set an appointment with Chicago Liposuction to learn about the minimally invasive water lipo.
After I saw the results, I wanted to cry almost, because I was like, wow, I can't believe it. I never thought that this would be my body. It's overwhelming. It's happiness. It's trying on new clothes, and like trying on clothes that you never even thought you could wear, and you have it on now, and you're like, that's me. That's my body. Now I had these curves that I didn't have, and it was just, yeah, it was overwhelming joy.
Set an appointment for a free consultation with Chicago Liposuction. Visit chicagoliposuction.com.
Today, Illinois schools are the front lines in this battle against the left's woke agenda. Our children aren't allowed to say prayers at school, yet boys are allowed to play in girls' sports. Our students are failing the basics, but they're teaching sexuality to second graders. It's crazy. As a parent, it is my right to have a say in my child's education. As governor, I'm going to push back against the left injecting their ideology into our curriculum and bring excellence back to our schools.
The following is a presentation of WGN News.
Tonight on Backstory, Mission Impossible, the man who captured a Nazi sub.
Capturing one would reveal a lot of German secrets, and that would help tremendously.
And the meeting between the American and German commanders decades later. A journalist saves an American institution.
Just when you think you've mastered it, guess what? It's going to humble you.
How he convinced the politicians to legalize an immoral game. And lost treasures from around the world.
This is Backstory with Larry Potash.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Larry Potash. In a previous episode of Backstory, we showed this archive film from 1956.
And the White Sox are going great guns, and I think they're going to win the pennant this year.
It turns out these are 4 brothers in the Navy from Chicago, including a Navy chaplain and 3 admirals. One of them captured the Nazi U-505 sub at the Museum of Science and Industry. We met his nephew to learn more about a band of brothers that helped America save civilization from the Nazis. Nazi submarines terrorized the Atlantic. The Gallery family has 3 Navy officers leading the charge: Philip, William, and Daniel Gallery. John is a Navy chaplain. Admiral Daniel Gallery says control of the seas means control of the war. But Gallery doesn't want to just sink Nazi subs, he wants to capture one.
My grandmother put this together. This particular scrapbook is mostly about my dad.
Bill Gallery is Dan's nephew and William's son. He's charted the family history in Chicago. They lived in Beverly, later in Winnetka.
Their father had political connections, not a lot of money, and he had some obsession with the Navy, so we sent 3 of them off to the Naval Academy. Dan, Bill, Philip.
Scrapbooks from Bill's grandparents reveal their pride in their 4 Navy sons.
It's certainly a point of family pride.
Hitler marches west, but a new strategy is needed to take Great Britain. Kathleen McCarthy is head curator at the Museum of Science and Industry.
Instead of trying to bomb it into submission, they wanted to sink every supply ship heading there so that they would starve the people. So the submarines attacking ships was incredibly vital to this effort, and if they had succeeded, the whole history would have changed.
Nazi subs sink hundreds of vessels. The Americans play catch-up, using convoys to protect ships. Finally, the Navy goes on the offensive against the Nazi U-boats.
We actually decided to go after them, not just really protect from them, and these hunter-killer task force were set up. German submarines may have been really advanced, but we took what we had, what we knew, and used that to our advantage, and actually then sent them on the run.
Gallery's hunter-killer task force patrols the Atlantic. Several months later, near the coast of West Africa, Gallery's task force spots the U-505. They track it for days. Gallery's ship is running low on fuel. Is there time to force the Nazi sub to the surface and get the crew to surrender without destroying the U-505?
Capturing one would reveal a lot of German secrets, and that would help tremendously.
Naval intelligence could use a completely equipped enemy vessel.
Americans could analyze German technology and retrieve the code books.
What the code books gave them is a lot more information.
June 4th, 1944, Gallery's attack team tracks the U-505 150 miles off the coast of West Africa.
At 11:21, the destroyer makes a depth charge attack.
These underwater bombs force the U-boat to surface.
Commence firing. The planes open up first. Now the roll really begins. Go ahead on, lad. The Nazis are scrambling overboard. There are the Nazis in the water in their rubber rafts.
Even though they capture the U-boat and crew, the danger is not over. Subs are often booby-trapped